Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry, served by Applebee's.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. That's right, day 4 here in New Orleans for Super Bowl 59, and the pace is picking up. We have a loaded day with top-flight interviews, stars across the board as you see it right here. Trey McBride, Malik Nabers, Puka Nacua, Jonathan Taylor, Kyren Williams. All the interviews are available on the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. We are now joined by Giants star wide receiver Malik Nabers, and you see it right there, a monster rookie season, especially in the land of fantasy football. Malik, thanks so much for joining us, man. How are you?
Appreciate y'all for having me. I'm doing good. How are y'all?
We are good. We're looking
good
at those numbers, man. What was your favorite moment of this rookie season? Because we were talking about you every single week, just star performance after star performance.
I'll probably say dancing in the end zone, man.
Yeah.
Got a few dance moves. I'm hoping to dance more the next season, though.
Yep.
How much do you, now, be honest with me, do you think about them before you're like, hey, if I get in the end zone, this is what I'm doing today, or does it just come to you in the moment?
I feel like it's both of those. I mean, you never know when you're going to get in the end zone. So, yeah, I'm always practicing a little something. But when I get in the end zone, I'm just like, what should I do? What should I do? But it just comes natural to me after that.
Well, it's unbelievable. You know, this year, not the year the Giants wanted to have, obviously, and there was, let's be kind and say, inconsistent play from the quarterback position. But we always talk about this wide receivers. Targets are earned.
Right.
And you just saw those numbers there. You were one of the league leaders in the NFL in earning targets. How difficult was for you in terms of you're playing with different quarterbacks, and, you know, and obviously the quarterbacks didn't have the kind of season that anyone on the Giants wanted to have.
Right. I mean, it's a roller coaster for sure. I mean, you know, you go into every week not knowing who's going to be throwing you the ball. But I feel like my quarterbacks, they gave me, you know, a fairly opportunity to showcase my talent. You know, every opportunity I got with a quarterback, you know, they always tried their best to give me the football. They know if number one out there, you know, and I see a one-on-one matchup, let's give him a shot. You know, I know he's probably going to make that play. So they all give me an opportunity to make plays with the football and give me the football in space.
How much did it help you, your final college season, you know, not only play across from Brian Thomas Jr.,
right,
but you guys are catching the ball from Jaden Daniels. It was like an NFL offense on the
right,
college field.
Yeah, I mean, it felt good. I surely got prepared early. You know, go and watch film with Jaden, you know. He showed, you know, helped me out a lot in my journey. You know, in BT, you know, playing on side of him, you know, is that competitiveness that me and him is competition. So it helped me it forced me to want to be better. It forced me to, you know, be ready for this opportunity that's put in front of me now.
So, Malik, I got to be honest with you. I'm a lifelong, since I was 5 years old, Washington fan.
Okay.
So, you know, faith in 5 over here. You know, Jaden is my guy.
Right.
I loved seeing you in BTJ at the Tampa Bay playoff game, supporting your guy. Seems like you guys are insanely close even after college. Talk to me about the relationship with my guy Jaden Daniels, but also Brian Thomas Jr.
Right. I mean, like you said, you know, that relationship started in college. I mean, you know, we used to do a lot of things together, you know, try to create a bond outside of football. You know, the bond outside of football will make the football relationship way better. You know what kind of brother you have on side you. You know what he's been through. Everybody knows what each other been through. So when you're out there on the football field, you're trying to help each other be better. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand the relationship that we have off the field that makes it stronger than the football relationship.
Yeah, when you guys are talking during the season, are you guys ever talking ball, or is it just more about like, hey, I'm going through this as a rookie, I'm going through this, and it's just more like, you know, family and life stuff?
Right. It's really probably never that. It's really just we always clown. We always clown with each other. We talk about football, but it's more like competition when it comes to, like, if I ever play your team, you know, it's stuff like that, you know. But like, most of the time,
Madden,
it's never
or do you guys play Madden or video games or anything?
No, it's always a phone call every day. We always talk every day.
So we had Justin Jefferson on this week, and we were asking him, like, what is going on with LSU? What's in the water right now with these wide receivers? It is insane, going all the way back to Odell and Jarvis Landry, obviously Justin Jefferson. I mean, what is it about that program? Jamar Chase goes a long way as well. I mean, it's just on and on and on. It's all the star wide receivers in the league.
Right.
What is it about that program that is churning out the top talent?
I mean, I think it's the crawfish. I think it's all the seafoodness that goes into that.
It's pretty good around here.
But I mean, you know, we have that when you go into that room. You know, you see all those guys on the wall. You want to be one of those guys that's on the wall. I mean, how could you not want to be, you know, a receiver that goes to LSU? You know, they got Odell, Jarvis. You know, they got all those guys that's there. and when they came out, they did a lot of tremendous things. So it forces all the receivers to want to become one of them. So I mean, you know, as the generations come, you know, and they see that, you know, we always want to be on that receiver wall, you know, be an All-American, and when you get to the league, you always want to do something when you get here. So, you know.
Well, it seems to be working. It seems to be working as well, and it's, you know, it's awesome to see your guys' success. I've said this on the air before. I said, again, because I'm a big Jaden Sanders fan, I said, listen, this is how incredible what Jaden is doing this year. I would argue he is playing with worse talent around him this year than he had in college
say it all the
year.
time.
I mean, like,
There's
exactly.
a drop-off.
I mean, I love Terry McLaurin, and no disrespect to, you know, Diami or Olamide Zacchaeus or Noah Brown, but, like, they ain't Malik Nabers and they ain't Brian Thomas Jr. And so it's unbelievable. Question for you. You saw the Eagles twice this year.
Right.
You see A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I'm sure you've watched, you know, film, and you're familiar with, you know, all the Chiefs guys.
Right.
How do you see the wide receivers impacting Sunday's game?
I feel like it's going to give them – I feel like it's going to be a tough matchup on both hands. You know, they got a lot of fast guys on that Chiefs offense. You know, they got a pretty good – one of the best quarterbacks in the land to be at quarterback. So, you know, if I feel like you can get those guys on the space, you can get them around the corner, give them a few blocks, I feel like, you know, they can make plays with the football. But that Eagles defense, they fly around, they create turnovers, they tackle well. So I'm pretty excited to see that.
The Giants picking 3rd overall. The combo's already started. A lot of hype and buzz around Shedeur Sanders possibly being the quarterback of the Giants of the future. What is your relationship like with him, and how excited would it be to get a young, talented guy under center like that?
I mean, you know, I got a. It's not like a great relationship with him. You know, I shared a few moments with him, had conversations with him. You know, he seemed like a pretty good dude. You know, he wants to be the best. He wants to play at a high level. He wants to lead a team. And I feel like, you know, he's a dog and he's a great player.
So I have a question about you. So you asked him about a rookie quarterback, but you told our friends over at PFT that you wanted a veteran quarterback in the room. And you tweeted yesterday, let's see, the number 9, the number 10, the Rams emoji.
Everyone's trying to figure this out, Malik. You have the entire radio row trying to solve the riddles here.
Yeah.
There's the tweet. Can we ask you about this?
It's a pretty good riddle. I don't know if everybody gonna solve this one.
You don't give it away.
Yeah, I'm not giving it away a lot, but I feel like people know what I'm aiming for.
For sure. What do you, just in general, just overall, what do you like about Matthew Stafford's game?
Man, when he throws the ball, it's like he can. His arm talent is crazy. His sidearm is crazy. His way he throws the ball, his angles at, bro, it's crazy. He knows the defense. I mean, he's a veteran quarterback. You know, he led that team to the playoffs without those receivers that he was playing with at the beginning of the season. They was hurt, you know. And when he got them back, you know, he was able to, you know, do a lot of great things. I like the way he throw the football.
He's one of these guys that, like, and you can't say this about every quarterback in the NFL, but, like, there's not a throw Matthew Stafford can't make.
Exactly.
He can make every throw. He's different. Yeah.
Everybody says it just comes out of his hand different, whether it's the angles, how he sees things. And as a wide receiver, obviously, you see it the same way. It's just, there's just something different about it.
As long as we're talking Rams, what do you like about Cooper Kupp's game?
I mean, man, I didn't watch a lot of Cooper Kupp, you know, film, especially when I was in the slot at, you know, LSU. Just trying to do a lot of option routes. You know, his option route is probably one of the best I've seen. So, you know, having him in a room and I can learn from that, you know, it's always great to learn from the veterans. You know, I got a chance to learn from Allen Robinson when he was there in the spring. So I learned a lot from him. So if I can learn something from Cooper Kupp, I can, you know, exceed with my game, understand a lot. You know, I'm young, so I'm trying to get as much game as possible for, you know, years to come.
Was there one thing specifically when you watched film of him that you sort of picked up in terms of whether footwork or how you move your hands or anything like that? Or
it's his footwork is so fast and you never know really where he's going. He's always stable. He's always, you know, his angles of where, like, you can never know where he's going. Like, he will literally, like, you know, eat your cushion up, you know, get you to just stay square with him, and then after that, you don't know really where he want to go.
Yeah, he's got one of the best release packages in the entire league. So Coach Dable back in the fold gives you some consistency on offense. What's something that you want to do more of in the offense this year? Is there a certain role that you want more reps in?
Quarterback.
Yeah, we'd love to see that.
I would just probably say, I don't know really. I move around pretty much a lot. I'll probably get into the slot more often. But I have a good amount of reps in and out, so I don't know really which much is left to do.
Malik, as you sit there and we talk about fantasy football here, so I have a couple questions for you. First off, have you ever played fantasy football, or does it come up a lot? Do people come up? Because I don't know if you're aware of this. You won a lot of people their fantasy championships this year, especially with your performance against the Colts.
Right. I mean, I don't know anything about fantasy. I stream on the game, so people be talking about fantasy when I'm playing the game. I got a chance to learn about it when I was playing the game. The fans was telling me about it, but I have never heard of it. I don't really know. I know they gave me a brief summary of what is fantasy, but I know when that game against the Colts happened, I was getting a lot of text messages talking about that.
Well, listen, I'm in a league called League ID 1. It's the very first fantasy league ever created on ESPN. There's 16 teams in it. Malik Nabers was my number 1 wide receiver, and I am the champion of that league thanks to number 1.
So
I appreciate that.
I
owe you a cut.
Yes.
Absolutely, because you absolutely did. Because of fantasy, we're always looking, we want to look at production and everything like that. Is there someone on the Giants that doesn't have the notability that you do, but that you've seen in practice, you're like, hey, if we stabilize this offense, like, watch out for this guy, something that we should be that should be on our radar for next year?
Yeah, easy. Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah,
easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch him run routes every day. His release package is crazy. His foot fire is crazy. His speed is crazy. How he catches the ball is crazy. So watching him, I'm like, bro, if we can get somebody talented to give us the football, sky's the limit for him. I'm waiting to see his success. Because I see him go hard every day at practice. So that's one of the guys to look out for is Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah.
Speaking of the skill guys, what was it like coming in with another rookie in Tyrone Tracy, and you guys were the face of the offense right away? It felt like.
I mean, it was great. Having that guy running back. It forces the defense to come down. Yeah. Forces everybody to play the box. So I was very proud of Tracy and what he done this season. I'm hoping we continue to create that bond and lead on into next season.
How is it adjusting? LSU is a national college program, but it's still like, you're in Louisiana, and now you're going to New York, the biggest media market in the world, where the fans are crazy, the press is even crazier. How was that adjustment as a rookie in a season where obviously it didn't go the way the Giants wanted to, and you're dealing with the New York press and just being a rookie in New York City?
I mean, for sure, it's a challenge. You learn, easy early on what not to say, what to say, how to say it. Make sure you know exactly what the person say that is interpreting, and learn how to, adjust your way of saying stuff.
All right, Malik, so you're here with us because of Popeyes today. What do you got going on with them?
So I'm collabing with Popeyes. I always eat Popeyes before the game. That's my game day meal. So Popeyes got the game day bundle going on. It's 25 wings. You get 3 regular size, 4 dipping sauces, only for $24.99. They also collabing with Don Julio, tequila, creating some
that's a good pairing.
Reposado flavor items. So don't drive home after.
No, that's a good Sunday on the couch, though. Some Popeyes wings and some Don Julio for sure. Listen, Malik, you had an amazing season as a rookie. We were absolutely thrilled to watch. I have one last question for you. So much hype in the coming into the season, not only around you, but just this rookie wide receiver class. You, Marvin Harrison Jr., Roma Dunze. I was curious if you keep in touch with any of because you guys did all the combine, you did a lot of probably visits together. I'm curious if you talked to any of those guys and any sense of them from their rookie season, if you guys have kept in contact.
No, I haven't, had a time to, reach out to those guys. Yeah, that's pretty much it about that.
Fair enough.
Brian Thomas
Well, you got focused on yourself. You got to. 100%. There's so much going on. Well, listen, you had a monster season for the Giants. You had a monster season for Fantasy Manager. You brought me to a championship, so thank you very much. Congratulations on all the work with Popeyes. We can't wait to see what happens in year 2.
Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
Thanks, Malik.
Thanks.
Let me ask you this. With a full season, a full healthy season with Kyler Murray, give me a little stat prediction. What the numbers going to be looking like around there?
Yeah, we need to get over 1,000, right? We need over 100 catches and 1,000 yards. So that's the goal. We want to get that 1,000-yard season, and hopefully we're scoring 10 or 15 touchdowns too. That's the goal.
1 year later, we are back once again with our friend Trey McBride, thanks to his go-to protein drink, Rockin' Protein. Trey, 111 receptions, so check, you got that done. 1,146 receiving yards, check, got that done. not the 10 to 15 touchdowns, but that's all right. We'll talk about that in a second, but still, congratulations. You finished as the second best tight end in fantasy football, 15.6 fantasy points per game. You led all tight ends with a 29% target share. We always talk about this on the show. Targets are earned. Like, you don't just get targets. Targets are earned. You got selected to your first Pro Bowl this year as well.
On that.
So congratulations, Trey, on just a monster season.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Everything that we talked about last year kind of came into fruition, so it's very cool. Obviously, we got to get those touchdowns up a little bit, but just to be out there with Kyler, to have that connection that we have, it's very special, and I'm excited to see where we can take it.
We talked about this before the show. You were on my preseason love list. You were, I was talking about you as, I do my ride or die thing, and you were my tight end ride or die as well. So you made me look smart. Thank you very much. Not every player does, or I maybe do it to myself. So congratulations. But I just want to talk about the touchdowns because it sort of became a thing. Like, it's not like you weren't being productive. It's not like the Cardinals offense wasn't moving the ball or scoring.
Right.
It just was it one of those things that just sort of fluky, or did you find out because you're such a big target when we got into the red zone, defenses, gave you more attention and then it freed stuff up like, oh, we can run Connor off tackle, or there's MHJ or there's Wilson in the end zone?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think it was a little bit of a fluke. It was one of those things where we were producing so much. I was having so many catches, and just for whatever reason, we just weren't scoring touchdowns. Whether he would miss me, I would run a bad route, or offensive line would miss a block. Just for whatever reason it was, we just weren't scoring. But it was funny because all my teammates were like, man, I didn't realize you didn't have a touchdown. I thought you'd scored 5-10 times by now.
That's what it seemed like.
And it was just one of those things. But to finally get in the end zone at the end of the season, to just kind of get that monkey off my back and people would shut up and stop talking about it was probably the most, best thing about it.
Yeah, but it was amazing. Like Matthew said, you finished as the second best tight end in fantasy despite not having a touchdown equity, right? And those numbers that you predicted for yourself last year, you did that in 15 games. Like, you crossed the 100 catches, 1,000-yard mark in 15 games. So you spoke it into existence.
Yeah.
So let's do it again. Call your shot again. It could be individually. I mean, you can't, like, those numbers are high, so it's not much higher you could go. So it could be a team goal or individual goal. So just call your shot again for the 2025 season.
I kind of like what I said last year. I like the 100,000 and 10. I think I'm going to stick with that, but most importantly, I want the Cardinals to get in the playoffs. I think we were right there last year. We were knocking on the door, and we just didn't break it down. But this year, I feel like Monty, JG, they've done a great job of building the team, building the culture, and I think next year there will be no question we'll be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you guys losing your offensive line coach. Not somebody that he was well respected in football circles, not somebody that was really well known publicly. He's not going to be the offense coordinator in Dallas. What are the Cowboys getting?
He's a great guy, a great coach, great. Everything about him is phenomenal. He's such a knowledgeable, knows how to, coach the guys, and our offensive line was we're losing a huge asset there, but I'm also excited for what they're going to bring in Justin Fry and what they've done already. So I'm excited for everything, but Cowboys are getting a good one, man. He's a great coach, and I think it's going to help their team tremendously.
Yeah, so with players like yourself and a guy like Brock Bowers, first team All-Pro as a rookie, who y'all games are similar, right? So it's a kind of change of the guard at the position right now, because usually, perennially, it's Kelsey, Mark Andrews, but now guys like you and Brock Bowers are coming out. How would you describe just the landscape of the position right now?
Yeah, those guys have done a great job of evolving the position, and Kittle, George, Travis, those guys have done a great job of growing this position. But it's they're getting kind of towards the end of their career, and some of these younger guys, Sam Laporta, me, Brock. Tucker Kraft's another guy that's a young guy that's good, and I'm excited to see where we can take this thing, how we can take what they've done and maybe take it to that next level again. And I'm excited to see what we can do. Brock's a stud, and we got a long career ahead of us.
Yeah. Do you go to tight end U? Have you been to tight end U?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just to get all those guys together, the camaraderie, to learn from those guys. It's such a fun weekend out there with George and Trav and those guys. All
right. Speaking of the tight end, you already mentioned Travis. Dallas Goedert on the other side on Sunday. Two really good ones. Tight ends, I think, are going to be an important part of this game. I've talked Travis, big game. He's always there. During the regular season, no team in the NFL gave up more receiving yards to the tight end than the Kansas City Chiefs. So Goedert, who's led the Eagles in receiving yards and receptions during their playoff run so far this year, I think he's going to be a big part of this game on Sunday. How do you expect those two guys in the tight end position to affect Sunday's game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a huge effect in this game. I don't really care who wins in my opinion, but I want Dallas, I want Travis, I want both those guys to have 3 or 4 touchdowns, and I want the tight ends to eat have a great game. I think that'll be cool. But Dallas is a stud. I think he's going to be a huge part of why if the Eagles win, he'll be a huge part of that.
Yeah, I know you said you don't care who wins. Who do you think wins?
I'm kind of pulling for the Eagles just to see Saquon and Jalen Hurts and Dallas. Those guys get their first ring. Travis and Mahomes, they've been doing it for a few years. So maybe it's time to dethrone the king and let some other guys win.
Yeah, maybe. I want the Chiefs to.
Maybe.
Well, listen, I'm a Washington fan.
Yeah,
I'm a diehard Washington fan. That's my team. So I don't want to see a division rival get there as well. But you guys played Washington. This is a selfish question. This is entirely for me, not for anyone else. But when you guys played Washington, what did you see in Jayden Daniels?
Jaden's a stud, man. Just the poise he has as such a young quarterback. You don't see guys that young be as successful as he was. And, Cliff has done a great job of coaching him and putting him in position to be successful. But he's a tremendous quarterback. I think the sky's the limit for him, and I'm excited to see where he can take that organization.
I am as well. But let's talk about another quarterback. I want to talk about your quarterback. All right. So I went out of the season. I don't know how much you pay attention to fantasy football or me, but I went out at the beginning of the season and I said, my ride or die is Kyler Murray. I went out big, and my ride or die has been pretty successful. Jalen Hurts the year he broke out, Austin Eckler the year he broke out, Amon-Ra St. Brown 2 years ago. So Kyler was my ride or die. And Kyler, and the weirdest thing is that I thought Kyler had a great year NFL-wise. I thought, and you guys were right there, and I think the defense actually helped hurt you down the stretch a little bit in terms of your playoff chances here as well. But the weirdest thing is, fantasy-wise, Kyler didn't run that much. And I don't know, was that – I'm curious, as somebody who was in the huddle and in the offensive meetings all week long, was that a design? Is that just the way the offense went? Because it's such a part of his skill set, and it just didn't feel like they called very many design runs for one of the fastest guys in the league.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Kyler obviously was coming off a knee injury, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Maybe he was a little more timid to run and things like that, but he's a tremendous guy. He makes so many plays with his legs. He makes so many plays with his arms. So he's a guy I love playing with, because you never know when the play's over, man. You think he's going to get sacked, and all of a sudden he spins out of it. He makes a couple guys miss, and he's out for the races. But I think that'll be a huge part of our game next year is, those design quarterback runs, the stuff where he can just go out there and be an athlete and make plays, because, I think he has MVP potential, and I'm just excited to see, where he can go.
No question.
You've predicted your numbers and how you would do. So you guys took Marvin Harrison Jr., right? And he came along pretty well. He didn't go for 1,600 yards like most people thought he would, right? But how do you see him evolving and developing as he goes in the year 2? Like, what kind of leap do you think he could take going into his second year?
Yeah, most people, when they come into the NFL, it's such a huge jump from college to the NFL, and it takes a little bit of an adjustment. And he had so many expectations on him, and the way that he handled all that stuff was tremendous. Coming from, his family, his dad, obviously, he's expected to do a lot, and the way he handled in himself was tremendous. But the jump he's about to make is tremendous. I think once he figures out how Kyler likes to play, he's getting better at that, and most importantly, just understanding defenses and how to get open in this league. It's a little different, and it's harder than it is in college. So I think he'll make a huge jump, and I'm excited to see where he can take this thing, because he's a freak of an athlete.
So this is the year he'll go for 120 catches and 1,300.
Okay,
I got you.
That's right. And Kyler's going to run for 600 yards.
It could happen.
Everything's going to happen.
Well, listen, I think your guys' preseason win total was like 6, maybe. Everything. You guys absolutely really exceeded expectations. Didn't get into the playoffs the way you guys wanted to, but I think anyone looking at the Cardinals season from last year has to say that was a success. Here's my question. Fantasy football a lot of times comes down to both talent and opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And we always talk about targets get earned. We know about you, we know about Marv, we know about Michael Wilson, we know about Kyler, James Conner, obviously. Is there someone on the team that isn't a household name, but that if he were to get an opportunity, you're like, you see it in practice every year, like, that kid, if that kid gets on the field, watch out?
You know, there's two guys that stick out to me when you say that. I think Greg Dortch is a guy who is a sneaky athlete, man. A guy who doesn't get a lot of chances, but when he gets that chance, man, he makes something happen with it. And another guy, Trey Benson, our backup running back. You know, James is obviously the helm. He's the face of the running back position there. But Michael Carter and Trey Benson are two guys that back him up. And both those guys, I have so much confidence in them, and they have so much elite playmaking ability, and any chance they get, I think they make it happen.
We've talked about the human Dortch. We call him the human Dorch, Greg Dortch, a decent amount on this show. We love Dorch. We wish Greg would get more opportunities as well. We agree with you.
Yeah, I think he's a freak of an athlete, and he doesn't get what he deserves sometimes.
In this upcoming NFL draft, it's been said that the quarterback class isn't as deep, but y'all don't have to worry about that.
Right.
There are other positions that are deep and talented in this draft. Where would you like to see, you guys kind of pick up somebody and bring in, whether it be a specific player or a certain position?
Yeah, I think, something that sticks out to me is our defensive front, maybe a big nose guard or an edge rusher. Myles Garrett just requested a trade, so maybe we can get him over.
Get him.
If we can get him in the valley, man, that would be fun. Although I don't want to block him in practice. That sounds horrible, but, man, I'd love to have him on our defense.
You get somebody else to chip him.
There you go.
You don't have to do that in practice.
Y'all going to have, 3 other tight ends in
there. Yeah, exactly. You can get somebody else to do that, Trey. Listen, Trey, you are the newest member of Team Rockin'. It's a team of athletes who don't compromise on their performance and never settle on taste or high-quality protein. Talk to me about your partnership with Rockin' Protein.
Yeah, they're just a protein company. They're based in Arizona, so right in my backyard. But something that I really love about them is the taste of the protein. It doesn't have that chalky taste afterwards that most proteins have. And they have 3 great flavors, vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. So you can kind of choose whatever you like. High on protein, and it's not just for athletes. It's for anybody who's working out, whether you're a weekend warrior or you're a professional athlete. It's for everybody, and it tastes phenomenal.
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations on the partnership. Congratulations again on a monster year. You called your shot. Not everyone calls their shot and hits it. Over 1,000 yards, over 100 catches, tight end 2 in fantasy, number 1 in our hearts, Trey McBride. Please come back next year, and we'll celebrate another great year.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys so much.
All right, now we're joined by not just the legendary Andrew Whitworth. I think the career resume speaks for itself, but alongside him is the Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean's in the house, baby.
This is your entourage for the week, huh?
He is. Mr. Clean doesn't talk, so I do the talking for him.
I like that. You're a spokesperson.
Very smart.
It. Thank you, Mr. Clean.
By the way, screw you, Connor. Connor's the one with hair. The rest of us are all follically challenged.
Which one doesn't belong?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's
hair's
you.
overrated.
That's what I'm adopting. I'm absolutely adopting. It would help if I had a body like Whit. Unfortunately, I'm stuck with this dad bod.
You got one or the other.
Yeah, exactly. I don't
it's
have
good thing
either.
You're good at fantasy football.
I do at least have that as well.
We all have our traits.
We all have our things. Andrew, and you're known as obviously one of the greatest offensive linemen ever. I think line play is going to be so important in this Super Bowl on Sunday. Eagles are so stacked on the defensive line. Talk to me how you think this plays out, because if there's one weakness to Kansas City, it's been that offensive line this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually an interesting game because both teams, the trenches are so important to their identity, offensively and defensively. I think when I look at this game, you continue to break it down. You can go through all the scenarios from the coaches to the lines and who's going to have the advantages, but I think it gets to be kind of evened out when you start to do that and you involve the coordinator in Kansas City and Spags and really what he's able to do with his group and then what Andy Reid's able to do as a play caller. It starts to even those things out. And so I go back and forth every week of who I think is actually going to have the advantage, but this Eagles O-line and Saquon together feels unfair. I keep relating it. It's almost like when you see NBA teams all of a sudden end up with 3 superstars. Right. It's like, how is Saquon Barkley running behind this group of 5 guys who's arguably some of the biggest, most talented guys we have at their positions in the entire NFL?
Andrew, I'm going to ask you one of the hardest questions that I'm sure the Chiefs are talking about every day. You go into this game, how the hell do you approach stopping Jalen Carter?
I think it'll be interesting because, to me, I think with Trey Smith, you have a big, powerful guard who's built that way. I think that they'll inevitably slide to him and try to eliminate him and try to make one of the other guys beat him that's in there. Obviously they rotate some guys in there, but really, to me, Andy Reid's going to do it in a bunch of ways. It's not just about stopping Jalen Carter. It's getting the ball out fast. It's what he's able to do to kind of, you look at this year with Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage or at or near the line of scrimmage. They've been that kind of team all year. And I really would have said a week and a half ago that Philadelphia is winning this game, and I think it's going to be by more than a field goal. Like, I think they win this game because I think they're that talented. And then as I've gotten through the weeks and I get closer, I keep circling the Los Angeles Rams game. And the reason I say that is who were the Rams this year? Not really an explosive offense, but go get first down after first down with Kyren Williams and Stafford and Puka and Kupp and kind of just find their way methodically down the field, but a young defense. Well, who got Philly down to the wire in Philly with a chance to win the game? The Rams did. And this is going to be how the Chiefs play. This is what they've done all year, the same kind of offense in that sense, except for they're playing with a really good defense. And so that game, to me, what I circle and go, all right, if they could play the same game the Rams played, but they're playing it with a much better defense, they win this game. And so I've gone back to now, I guess I got to go with 15. I'm tired of picking against him and losing, so maybe I'm going to go Patrick this time and finally give in.
I picked the Chiefs as well because my take is that the Eagles are a better team, top to bottom.
Yep.
But Mahomes over Hurts, and Reed over Sirianni. And all due respect to both Hurts and Sirianni, who've had great seasons, but you're talking about two of the greatest of all time, and so the two most important positions on the field, right?
Yeah, there's no question, and that's what I think you start to lean back to after you go through the talent side of it, and you go, all right, wait a minute, what's winning football? All right, these guys win together.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Crazy stat that I've been using all week. In the Mahomes era, in the playoffs, when you've given Andy Reid more than 1 week to prepare, either the Super Bowl or he had a bye, everything like that, he's only lost once. And that was to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. And we love Jalen Hurts. He's not Tom Brady.
He's not. And also, I always say that game's a caveat, too, because he lost both tackles, his left and his right tackle, for that game, which I don't know any team that could actually survive that in that scenario.
That's very true. All right, Whit, you blocked for Todd Gurley for a lot of years as well. What's it like? I think so much credit is like, oh, well, Saquon's got that offensive line. But I feel like that offensive line gets better because they got Saquon behind him. So you block for an elite running back. What's that like?
Yeah, it's really one of those things that they do go hand in hand, because what happens is you go out and you execute a run scheme and you go, all right, wow, like you look at the production we got from that play if we just do it this way, because Todd feels it that way and we feel it that way, so we're kind of both seeing it the same way even though we don't know really, right? Because the ball's always behind us. And you see this guy, oh, man, he's able to produce if we do it this way. So now you go back with Saquon, and Saquon's like, I trust you guys, y'all trust me. And now we start to develop confidence. It becomes almost like automatic. All right, we make this call. We know this play works. Like, we know how we're going to block it. He knows how to hit it and set up the blocks. And then when he gets through the line of scrimmage, he's going to make people miss or he's going to run through arm tackles. And there develops this confidence to where every play call, you're like, ooh, this is the one last week we busted, or the week before. You start to know exactly what to do. And what I really go back in my mind to is when we played the Dallas Cowboys in the Coliseum in my first ever playoff win, I'll never forget Todd Gurley's long run in that game. It was a zone to the right where we had known that they were going to do some of these little stunts, and I knew that if I could just get past the D tackle and get up to this backside backer, Todd loved to wind those all the way back. And it happened literally in the exact same moment that I get up, he winds it back, he takes it to the house, and it really wasn't like, oh man, I did something extraordinary. It's that I knew how Todd loved to do it, and I knew we were going to get this look at some point, and it all happens at one time. And that's the kind of things that start to happen when your line's confident in what the back's going to do. He has the talent to do it, and then now our talent starts to shine because of really the confidence and belief we have in each other.
In the same mold, what is it like blocking for a quarterback like a Patrick Mahomes where, listen, I think there's a lot more timing and quick game in the offense than people realize, but in these moments when he needs to make a play, he's going to make a play. He's going to scramble around. He's going to do the Mahomes magic. As a tackle, what is it like knowing how it can turn into backyard football at any moment?
Yeah, I think that really you start to probably figure it out a little bit with him. I think probably guys when they first play with him, probably earlier in his career more so, he would kind of be all over the place in the pocket. And he was really good at it, but you're like, oh, man, sometimes I don't know exactly where you're going to be.
Right.
But I think he's gotten so much better at that now. The ball's coming out of his hands so much faster. He really uses his legs when he has to use his legs now, and he really has to ad-lib. He does it. And so I think that really, to me, it's a massive advantage, because when you start to go, all right, some of the worst downs you can have is we're sitting back there with the ball. And that's why I think like Jalen Hurts on the other side. You look at some of his worst downs this season, is he does have such awesome pass protection that he's just sitting back there for a while and nothing's really happening. That's worse for a lineman because you're like, man, we've been blocking forever. Like, is the ball ever going to get out of your hand, or are you going to run? Like, do one of the two, but like, don't just sit back there, right? And so with Patrick, you can see that he's really figured it out. I'm going to get this ball out of my hand. I'm going to have a feel for how I set these guys up, and when I need to, I'm going to use my legs. And in the playoffs, more than others, like, that's what Mahomes does. Like, I expect him to use his legs a lot on Sunday.
Andrew, you're a Rams legend. You're still in the LA area. You're involved with the team. I'm curious, were you surprised by when Cooper Kupp announces that the team told him, that they want to trade him, knowing how close, at least from our perspective, that him and Stafford are, that him and McVay are? Were you surprised by that? And have you talked to Coop yet?
Yeah, I did reach out, and obviously anytime after those things, there's a lot of raw emotions, and you're disappointed because you want to stay somewhere your entire career. I've obviously been through that. But yeah, it is interesting. It's kind of what's the vision for who they want to be going forward. I think they're trying to figure that out. I think they're trying to figure out, obviously, you look at really what they did. We won the Super Bowl. They reinvested in Cooper and Matthew and Aaron Donald and all this, and really kind of went aggressive to repeat. And it didn't work out. It was kind of a disaster. And now you're kind of living in that world of, all right, how do we get back to kind of stabilizing our book, stabilizing who we are, and start to build? Because the one thing I think is interesting, when you think about McVay's success in his career already, he hasn't had a normal structure to building a team yet, and he's been this successful. You came in, they had leveraged all their picks before he got there to get Jared Goff. Then he comes in, and all of a sudden you're trading guys, trading players and picks to try and build this team. You do it, you win the Super Bowl, then you cash back in to try and win it again. That doesn't work. Now you're flipping the books all over again. People thought they were going to have a complete rebuild. They don't. They're back in the playoffs 2 years in a row. They're finally at a point to try and build themselves back up, and I think maybe this is an approach to say, all right, how do we continue to build the weapons in the team that when Matthew Stafford and other guys leave us eventually, we have the kind of football team we can bring a young quarterback into and him have success.
It's been a wild week where we heard Cooper Kupp's been told he's going to be traded, and then on the other side, Myles Garrett has come out and said, I want to be traded. I mean, Andrew, you see all these pass rushers because of Thursday Night Football across the league. Is Myles Garrett still the #1 pass rusher in football?
I mean, I think he's obviously the guy that you put him in that category. To me, it's like regardless of whether they're 1, 2, or 3, that when you go into the offensive game plan, every single play that a coordinator says he's going to call that week is dictated like where is Myles going to be, where do we think he's going to be, and how are we going to have to adjust this play for it to work? And he is in that category. So without question, where you think he's 1, 2, or 3, he is a guy who changes the game plan every week for a team. So he's going to be a massive get if that happens. I don't know if Cleveland's going to be in the business of giving away an all-time type player, but it would probably take something pretty crazy to get him. But I think that if a team can do it, there's a lot of teams out there he can make a massive impact to, just like Cooper Kupp. I think that the reality is with Cooper, you're talking about a guy that from a cerebral standpoint is going to be probably smarter from a football philosophy, football concepts, offense, everything, than most of the coaches you have on your staff, offensive staff, maybe the play caller, the only guy might know more just because it's his system, but he is going to teach and be able to prepare and pass the knowledge and understanding of what a daily process to be great at something is better than anybody in the world in that offense. So if I have a young quarterback, I got a young receiver room, I'm putting in a new offense, to me, he's invaluable because of not just his field play, but what he's going to be for you out on the field as your coach-type guy who's in that huddle, helping guys get set up and understand what they got to do to execute.
Why do you think the production trailed off towards the end of the year for Cooper?
I think that really, to me, if we're honest, I think that Puka and Cooper are very similar type players. And when you start to put these teams together, we look at a lot of these teams, it's a lot more basketball than it used to ever be in the sense of it's all about matchups and like, all right, do we have this guy who can do this pass and these route concepts and this we want to do the run game, the tight ends, the personnel for that. Like, who do we have in all those situations? And that really dictates the personnel we play games with. And so I think when they think about it, I think to me it's probably, hey, you know what, Puka and Cooper, if we were going to style an offense, they're probably the two guys are kind of so similar. One of them is going to be the lead guy in what we're going to do, and they're both kind of the similar guy. Whereas if one of them was this deep threat, with speed, who's going to take the top off of a defense, it wouldn't be such a conversation. But I think probably it's a move to say, rather than have two guys that are so similar, let's let Puka take that role in this offense. He's younger. He's somebody we can build around. We can save a little in the cap. And let's go find the guy who can be explosive for us. Maybe that true X-type receiver, true number one guy that they could really take the top off of defenses and let Puka work all the underneath stuff.
I have one last question for you, very quickly. You've been with Amazon Thursday Night Football for a couple of years here. At any point, are you sitting there and you look over at Sherman and be like, what the hell did you just say? What?
Sherm is a passionate dude. It's my absolute favorite thing, getting a chance. Like, I think it's really neat, especially, Tony obviously is like a joy. Anybody knows Tony Gonzalez knows what a sweetheart human he is. Carissa's an all-timer.
I work with Chris at ESPN. She's the best.
Oh, the best. But really for Ryan and Sherm and I, like, all played during the same time, all retired at the same time. So, like, our stories and the coaches and what we understand about each other's buildings and the guys we played with, it's so fun to reminisce over our kind of time we played. So, look, we know Sherm. There's one thing. He's not wrong about anything that's coming out of his mouth, at least from his perspective, right? Sherm is always right. So, Fitz and I love getting him started. It's our favorite thing. You know this in the green room, right? You're going to get back there and discuss what we might talk. We know we're not going to say this on air, but we might throw something out there that we just want to hear Sherm get mad and upset and just, what? There's no way you think that, and like, that's Sherm, and that's who he is. It's so great. Love the dude, and I've loved the opportunity to spend our weeks with him every single week.
Well, it's been a lot of fun having you. It's been a lot of fun watching that show. You guys do a great job.
It's a blast.
There as well. Mr. Clean has gray eyebrows, which is a nice touch, by the way. I just noticed that.
I mean, listen, this is perfect partnership here. Listen, I got the opportunity to do this with Mr. Clean. We got our magic erasers. I got 4 kids and 3 dogs, so I know all about messes. So this was a perfect partnership for that. And, good-looking bald gentleman. What do you want to say?
I like
He's had a lot to say, Mr. Clean.
Yeah.
Mr. Clean doesn't talk. I talk for him, all right?
It makes a lot of sense. We are pro-bald guys here on the Happy Hour. So, Andrew Whitworth, always a pleasure. Thanks, Whit.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all very much.
Back on the Happy Hour desk at Radio Row at the Super Bowl, Jay Croucher, Matthew Berry, Fantasy Football Happy Hour, joined by fantasy football legends, honestly, Josh Jacobs, A.J. Dillon, our friends at Bounty, bringing you guys here. You guys are officially wingmen this year? What's going on?
My wingman. We're each other's wingman. It's time for the Super Bowl, and everybody knows you can't have football without wings.
And you can't have wings without Bounty.
This is all true. On, this is very, very true. You can't have a fantasy team this year successfully without Josh Jacobs. Unbelievable year, my friend. Congratulations. I know when we talked to you last year, and the situation with the Raiders, you weren't sure what was going to go on, and so you go to Green Bay. Unbelievable season this year. Just incredible. I know the season ultimately didn't work out the way you wanted to, but talking about your role in this offense, and just it seemed like, especially down the stretch, they were like, okay, every play, hand it to 8.
Man, I mean, I just try to come in and play my brand of ball. I try to encourage the guys and lead the guys a certain type of way. And any game that I'm in, I try to have some type of mark on the game, try to make a statement or set the tone or whatever. So I just happen to do that this year.
Yep. AJ, obviously you weren't able to get out in the field, but how's the rehab process gone? How's your neck, and how you feeling going into next season?
Feeling good, man. Down in Florida for a little bit, getting some warm weather. It was snowing today in Green Bay, so down there getting back, excited for year 6.
Okay.
I am sure. Here's my question for you. All right, so this is a question actually for A.J. Dillon.
Okay.
So I don't know if people know this, but A.J. Dillon's a big fantasy football player. Plays in a lot of leagues.
Yes.
You and I once slid into your DMs because we were talking about trying to do a league together because you tweeted at me and we went back and forth. So here's my question for you, A.J. Josh Jacobs led the NFL in touches, rushing yards, and scrimmage yards. He was first-team All-Pro back in 2022. He's had over 1,100 scrimmage yards in all 6 seasons. Averaged 17.2 fantasy points per game this season, 15 rushing touchdowns, top 4 in the NFL. Did you have Josh on your fantasy teams this year?
He was gone before I got him.
Oh, no.
I had pick 8. He was already gone.
Oh, man.
That makes sense. And they wouldn't even do it. You're like, that's my guy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going into next year, Josh is going to be a top 1, 2, 3 pick, so you got to have an early draft.
There's no question. I can't believe they screwed you. Who else was on your team this year, your fantasy team?
I had a couple Packer guys. I had Jay Reed on there. Jay Reed I was able to get. I did have Jamar Chase.
That worked out.
It worked out. He had a great year.
He did. He had the Triple Crown.
Do you go into drafts with any specific strategy? Like you go 0 wide receiver, load up on running backs?
I know ball. So I know ball. I don't have the big book in front of me. I just kind of like look who's available and just kind of go from there.
All right, Josh is going to be a top 4 pick for you next year. You said
top 3.
Top 3, fair enough. Top 3. Where's A.J. Dillon go next year?
Hey, all I know is going to be a good year, wherever that is. So wherever you pick me up in the draft, I'll get more points next year than I did this year.
As a betting man, that's a very good bet to make. Josh, first year on a new team after being at the Raiders your whole career, like how was the adjustment period? Did you feel like second half of the season you're really hitting your stride as you got more familiar with everything?
For me, man, coming in like OTAs and camp, it was definitely different. But it was just work at that point, like putting the work in. So we were still at the ground stages. I felt like when the season started, I felt like the team had to really get used to like who I am and like like what do I bring or what do I do well or what I don't do well and things like that. So I think that once we figured that out, it was kind of like a match made in heaven.
Yeah, it did seem like there was a little bit of an adjustment period, but over the second half of the year, not only were they leaning on you, but also they were starting to throwing you the ball. I felt like they got away from that in Las Vegas, I guess, with the Raiders. Like that was a part of your game early in your career.
Yeah.
And then they just got away from it. And it was great to see you being used in the passing game. Was that something you talked with Coach LaFleur and the staff about?
It's something that I definitely talked to Jordan about. I'm like, man, when you in doubt, I'm always there, man. Hit me. You know what I'm saying? I'll make a play. And then it just happened to work out this year where a lot of the times where he'll check it down and I'll make a guy miss and they just go for a big gain. So it's been good.
AJ, you've been there for, I believe, the whole Matt LaFleur era. Matt LaFleur is obviously thought of as this, incredible offensive mind. Is there anything specific about him that makes him so unique, and how has he kind of changed over the time you've been there?
Yeah, I think I think he's a great X's and O's guy. Yeah. Like I think he's surgical, for lack of better words, when it comes to like drawing up a play for the offense and schemes like that. He has that ability to just kind of see the field and put guys in the best spots for them. So I think that's like what kind of separates him so far in his coaching career. I think I got there maybe his second year on the Packers, 2020. So I think he's definitely got more comfortable with the team, like, as a new coach, and he's a younger coach too. So like, I can definitely see like he's really gotten real comfortable in there in the organization for sure.
Nice.
Josh, you made news yesterday, where you said you love your guys, but you really feel like the Packers need a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
And I know, and that probably took off in a way that you didn't expect.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you wanted to address that at all.
Yeah, I'll address it. I mean, them guys in that room know that, that I love them, that no disrespect to the guys that we have in that building. I would never disrespect the guys' ability, especially when I see, the type of work that they put in. But also, man, people got to understand, Christian Watson got hurt at the end of the year.
Yep.
We won't have him until week 13, week 14. Realistically, that's a spot that we're going to have to either draft a guy or get a guy to pick up. I do believe in all those guys that we have in the building, they talent and things like that. But I do believe personally that you need a vet to kind of just help figure it all out, put all the pieces together. I think that all them guys have the potential to be special. I think that they will be eventually. But I think that they just need a little push, a guy that's been around, that's done it a little bit, and that can give little nuggets here and there to just help them elevate their game.
So then I'm going to ask you the same question, AJ. Do you agree with Josh? Do you guys feel like you need a number 1?
Yeah, man, I agree with Josh.
Because you know ball.
I do know ball. I agree with Josh, man. I think those guys in that room, like you said, they're very talented. You got a lot of younger guys, and I think something about them, I think you put somebody like that in a room, like a proven guy, I think it just elevates everybody. I think like those guys you think about that we have in that room, they're going to see somebody out there working, competing. Hey, I've been to a Pro Bowl or 2 or however many Pro Bowls. I'm this guy. I'm an established vet. Like, all right, how do I get to this level? And then you might have an entire we might have an entire unit of just guys playing lights out. And so I hear what Josh is saying. Like, no disrespect. It's just let's keep elevating. Obviously, we didn't get to that Super Bowl. We're not here playing right now. Yeah. So how do we get to that next level? How can we keep adding people and keep establishing dominance.
And it all feeds on itself, obviously. The better the passing game is, the more it opens up the run game, and vice versa. The better run game's going, it's going to open up for the pass game. So obviously you want a balanced offense here. There's a special running back in the game this Sunday in terms of Saquon. Kareem's had a really good career as well. I'm curious how you guys see Sunday playing out, especially from the running back position.
I think that they got to feed Saquon. Obviously, he's the focal point. I mean, if I'm KC, I'm looking at stopping him first and making all the other guys make plays and figuring it out after that. But me personally, I'm never betting against Mahomes. I've seen him enough in my career to know that and to understand that. But also, I have a lot of guys that I played ball with in college, on the other side, and I want them to get a ring. I'm rooting for them. So, however it play out, it's just hard to bet against Mahomes.
Yeah.
Is that who you think wins? Do you think Kansas City wins?
I think KC wins.
Yeah.
AJ?
Yeah. You can't bet against Mahomes, man.
That's how I feel. I feel as well.
Good to get out of the AFC West and have to see Mahomes. So the NFC North is pretty tough as well. Well, guys, thanks so much for coming on. Josh, awesome year. AJ, looking forward to seeing you get out there next season. And good luck to the Packers in 2025.
And thank you to Bounty for making you guys available to us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Kyren Williams is my favorite in the league running back right now.
What about him makes you like him?
First, I mean, he's small, so you wouldn't be able to think that he runs as powerful as he does,
right,
and he's as shifty as he is. And I mean, he plays, man, and he finds holes. He kind of reminds me of me. Really,
I was just about to say, he hears me talk about him a lot. Right.
Yeah, so I love his game.
Right.
All right, that was Josh Jacobs on Pro Football Talk yesterday talking about his favorite running back in the NFL, who we are talking about right now, Kyren Williams. Yeah. Congratulations, Kyren. What's your reaction when you hear Josh say that?
Man, I can't do nothing but smile. Like that makes me feel so good because it's like I'm getting recognition from people who I looked up to. Somebody that, Josh Jacobs, I saw him at Alabama, I saw him with the Las Vegas Raiders, and I see him now with the Green Bay Packers and doing what he's doing. That's like somebody that I envision myself to be like, somebody that where he was at in his career when I was, I guess still coming up. I've always wanted to be where he was at, and so just being able to hear him say that is, it makes me feel good. Makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing.
That's awesome. So your eyebrows perk up when you're listening to that. That's cool. Is there anyone, aside from Josh, who you really look at in the league and kind of try and emulate their style?
So I've always been a big fan of Christian McCaffrey. That's somebody that I've always envisioned myself truly being like, being able to be a person who can catch the ball and run the ball. Obviously Saquon and Derrick Henry. Just being able to be – I've always wanted to be a dominant individual player. I've always wanted to be that. And so – those guys who are dominant at the running back position, that's who I kind of see myself like.
And it's interesting you bring up McCaffrey because the knock on McCaffrey coming out of Stanford wasn't that he wasn't talented. They're like, he's too small. This isn't a guy that can be an every down running back in the NFL, and that was one of the knocks on you, and obviously both of you have proven all those critics wrong, becoming workhorse backs for your NFL teams. This year, you set a career high in rushing yards, almost 1,300. You had 14 rushing touchdowns. Over the last 2 seasons, no running back in the NFL has more touchdowns than Kyren Williams. You have 31 total touchdowns. Top 10 fantasy running back 4 over the last 2 years as well. What do you attribute that success to? Like, how were you able to, again, because people were like, this guy, he's too small. He can't handle 20 touches a game, and then you come in and you do it. How did that happen?
That is from all the hard work, belief, and confidence that I have in myself and that I had put in. Like you said, this is not the first time that I've been overlooked. My whole career, my whole life, whether that's Little League to high school to college, I've always been overlooked. I always just, I don't know if he can do this. I don't know if he's bigger enough, fast enough to do this. And then I do those things, and it's just like, what can they say now, And so being able to be in that position is being able to, I guess, shut those people up, it's the best feeling because I know what I'm capable of and I know where it's come from. It's genuine and it's all hard work. It's all believing in myself and knowing that I'm supposed to be in this position.
Yep. There's not many running backs who carry the ball as often as you do, who can, get 20, 25 carries, more committees now in the NFL. Yeah. Do you find that with the more work you get, do you feel that you build and get stronger as the game goes on?
1,000%. Heck yeah. I feel as if the more touches I get, the more I get going. The more I'm starting to see things, the better my feel is for how they're trying to attack me and how they're trying to, destroy blocks and whatnot. And so, yeah, I've always been like that. The more I get going, the better I get.
You mentioned Saquon as one of your favorite running backs in the NFL. You got to see him in the playoffs, obviously not the result you guys wanted. Tough loss. That was actually our game, NBC's game, our last game of the season for Sunday Night Football. But running backs are going to be a big part of what happens on Sunday in the Super Bowl. Obviously, Saquon's going to be a focal point of the Eagles. And for the Chiefs to run the way they need Hunt and Pacheco to do what they do, how do you see the running backs playing out on Sunday?
Like you said, I think they're going to be a big point of this game. I think Saquon has a bigger, how would I say? Saquon has a bigger chance, to take off in this game, because he's been dominant this whole season throughout every single game. We played him twice, and he's been dominant both times that we played him. And so I think it's going to start up front with the line of scrimmage. How is the Chiefs defense going to stone the Eagles offense and be able to slow down? Because I've always said that I don't think you can stop Saquon. You can just limit him. He's too good of a player to completely not get any production from. They're going to find a way to get him the ball somehow, some way. And so I think if the Chiefs are able to do that and the Eagles have an answer, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a back and forth
Who do you
game.
think wins?
I got the Chiefs. I'm not going for a team that beat us twice.
I'm with you.
I can't do that.
I'm with you as well.
You did have to play the Eagles twice and have to go up against Jalen Carter and that D-line.
Yeah.
Like, how difficult is that D-line to run against? And what kind of success do you think Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco might have?
I think it's a very hard defense to run against in general because they're active from all three levels, from the D-line to the linebackers to the safeties coming down to fill the gaps. But I think that if the Chiefs running backs, if they can be patient, if they can hit their holes and be okay with a 4-yard gain, a 5-yard gain, and just keep stacking those, then it'll be all right.
Kyren, your teammate Cooper Kupp made news a couple of days ago. He put on social media that he's been told that he was going to be traded.
Yeah.
Very heartfelt note to the Los Angeles community as well. I was curious, were you surprised by that? Have you had a chance to talk to Coop yet?
Yeah. I wasn't surprised. I was surprised by that. Coop has been a person that before I even got to the league, like that is the Rams star. Like that's the pillar of who the Rams are. That's Cooper Kupp. And so being able to, play with him this last 3 years, I've actually got to experience that firsthand to see how he is as a person, as a veteran, as a person who, who's willing to help the people that are around him out, give them advice, be able to talk to them about football or off the field, and just be able to have a guy that you can go to, a guy that you can just talk to about anything with. That's something that I saw outside of, what people that on the outside don't see about Cooper Kupp. And so it was definitely tough.
Do you have a theory about, because Cooper has been one of the best wide receivers in the NFL for so long,
right?
But last couple of games just didn't seem to be a big part of the game plan. Don't know if that was fluky or any thoughts on why the production sort of tailed off towards the end of the year?
Nah, I couldn't tell you why to a point or to a T. I just think that with some of the the game plans that we do have, other guys are highlighted more than Cooper has been, but I would say the last 3 games when we needed Cooper Kupp for a long third down, Matthew threw it up and he would come down with it. And so being able to have that, security blanket to where if we need a quick first down or we need a long third down to get something going, Cooper was there for us. I remember in the Vikings game and I remember in the Eagles games that he did that for us. And so being able to have a guy like Cooper where you can just rely on, it's gonna be tough to replace.
Yep. Matthew Stafford's got to be one of the most unique quarterbacks to play with because of his ability to do things outside of structure and the arm angles and everything. And one of your biggest strengths is as a receiver in the pass game. So just how has it been like kind of adapting to Stafford and learning his game over the past couple of years?
Man, it's been so cool. It's been an experience. There's something that as a rookie, I was starstruck being around Matthew Stafford. I can't lie. Like I said, I love this game so much, and I give so much respect to the people that were doing this before, where I was wanted to be. And so, being able to be around Matthew and how he prepares for a game, or how he has so much command and control of what he does and what our offense is revolved around, it's such a learning experience. I remember my rookie year, I wasn't very vocal, and I see how vocal Matthew is, and I got a little bit more vocal, and now I kind of see myself as a leader on this team and somebody that people can come to because I learned from those guys. I learned from a Cooper. I learned from a Matthew. I learned from being around the people who have great success in this game.
Kyren, so unfortunately, it looks like Cooper's time in Los Angeles is coming to an end. We all know about Puka. We all know about you. Demarcus Robinson's had some really nice moments. But for those of us looking at fantasy football, who are some guys in practice that you know, like, hey, when this guy gets a shot, watch out? And obviously there's going to be some opportunity with Cooper no longer on the team.
1,000%. And I think those guys are, man, Jordan Whittington from Texas, the rookie, he's great potential, man. You can see just a little bit that he showed on special teams this year, being able to return the ball. I'm excited for what he has to bring into, this second season, his sophomore season, and what he's able to do. And guys like TJ, Tyler Johnson, who's shown in games that he's capable of, making those big plays and being able to be a receiver who, gets those yards at the catch. And so being able to have those guys coming back and be with us, hopefully, I'm excited for, the things that we're able to do as offense.
Okay. The wild card round against the Vikings, obviously playing that game in Arizona after the terrible events in Los Angeles, and then you guys come out and you win the game, incredible win for the city. What was that week like leading up to the game? Was it just the preparation disrupted, and by the time you got onto the field just felt like a normal game, or what was that like?
Man, the week was crazy. This is a week that you couldn't imagine actually being in the NFL having, because it felt like a bowl week. It felt like you're in college, because we left to go to Arizona, I guess, 4 days before the game even, started. And so we were out there with our friends, families. Everybody had their kids. Everybody had their girlfriends, their wives, whoever it may be. They were all out there at the same hotel. So it was kind of like a real family feeling, a real feeling that we're all in this together. And in spite of, what's going on back home in Los Angeles, we still have a job to do. And at the end of the day, that's to go out there, against the Vikings and be able to put on a great display of football. And I think that we took that as a good thing, as a motivation to where we can motivate the city or get the city hope by the way that we play and the way that we go out there and compete on Sunday, whatever day, or Monday, whatever day the game was. And I think we did that to perfection.
Definitely.
We are a fantasy football show, Kyren. I met you last night. We talked a little bit about it as well. Obviously, you care about the Rams winning and trying to get to another Super Bowl. But does fantasy football come up in your life? Have you ever played fantasy? Do fans come up and tell you? Because you're a very popular pick.
No, I've learned that over the last few years. I've never really played fantasy football. I knew what it was growing up. I had friends that played fantasy football, but it was just too much for me. Like, I got to go on this app and change my lineup and whatnot. And so I always forgot about it and lost.
But do your friends hit you up, or like, do people come up to you and
yes, like, I think it's probably every person that comes up to me is thank you for fantasy points, and it'll be from kids that are 12-year-olds to adults that are about 40, 50-year-olds. Yeah. So it's crazy the amount of different people who play fantasy, and I'm able to allow them to win championships. So it's a cool feeling for sure.
Yeah. You won a lot of people a lot of money this year. They need to give you a cut.
Yeah. Hey, I wouldn't be opposed to that. That's what I'd be saying.
Yeah, well, particularly 2 seasons ago, given that you kind of came out of nowhere in the public eye and just exceeded expectations so rapidly, you would have won a lot of people their leagues.
1,000%.
For sure. You are here thanks to our friends at Sleep Number. Talk to me about your partnership with Sleep Number.
My partnership with Sleep Number is one I've always wanted to have. I remember getting into the league, or I remember actually before I got to the league, seeing those commercials like, I want a Sleep Number bed, and knowing a little bit about how important sleep was to me until I really got the Sleep Number bed. And then I can see how much it makes a difference. I can see how fast my body recovers, how well that I'm rested, and I'm able to wake up in the next day with a great attitude and a great mindset to attack the day. And so being able to have that Sleep Number, that gives me the competitive advantage to, I guess, beat my opponents, beat the people that are in front of me. And so I'm blessed to be able to partner with Sleep Number, but also to have a Sleep Number as well.
Last question for me, Kyren. How fun was this Notre Dame season for you?
It was so fun. To be able to sit back and, be a true fan, because I'm 3 years removed from Notre Dame. None of my, friends are still there. But it was great to be able to see and to know the amount of work that is put in to get to where they got. It doesn't get talked about a lot. The grind, the mental, the physical, the toughness that you have to be able to withstand a long season. I was great. My heart felt good watching them go out there and play.
Have they reached out to you? Have you been able to get do they want you to talk to the team, that kind of stuff, and engage with the program at all?
Not recently, not this past year. But that's something I definitely should do. That's something I definitely should go back to, and just being able to because I'm not too far removed to where I can still relate to them and still have, kind of know what's going on, and we're kind of in the same era still, so I can be able to go out there and tell my story, but also to be able to hear their story and can relate to them. So I would definitely be excited to do that.
Yeah, be a resource for them, like, hey, this is what it takes to get to the next level.
Yeah.
I think it'd be something that they would definitely appreciate and enjoy. But congratulations on a great season, not only for the Irish, but also for the Rams and for you personally. Continued success, my friend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Kyren Williams, everyone.
Yep.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. We are joined by the legendary Vernon Davis. And look at that career resume. 14 seasons, 63 career touchdowns, and honestly a man that's somehow busier after football. Vernon, what's happening?
Oh, man, a lot is happening today. Today and this weekend is going to be amazing. I'm excited about it.
You enjoy the craziness of all of this? It seems like you do.
Yeah, I do. I think it's fun. I think it doesn't happen every day. So when I have a chance to come back and experience this moment and see guys that I played with and guys that I know, this is the time for it. They're coming here. They're going to be here promoting and having fun with all of the activities and things of that nature. It's great.
Yeah, I always felt like Vernon Davis, and you've done some acting now too, but I always felt like the thing about Vernon Davis was like, if you wanted to cast a tight end in a movie, it's Vernon Davis, because you look like a tight end. You're always like, you're walking up, in the locker room, walking off the plane, you're like,
first guy off the bus, hopefully.
Yeah, and you're like, damn. Like, I'm always just like, how is that guy and me have the same DNA somehow? Because it's not correct. It's not fair. I know that you took a lot of pride in how long you played, how well you took care of your body and everything like that. What's the key to longevity in the NFL?
Well, I think the key to longevity is, like you said, how well you take care of your body. And I tell a lot of people that I never had surgery.
Yeah?
Wow. Never had surgery in 14 years, and a lot of that has to do with the 3 massages I got a week, seeing a chiropractor twice a week, dry needle, stretching every single day, all year long. That is the key, and proper nutrition as well. But when you incorporate all those different elements, then what you produce is a long, healthy career.
Yeah.
How hard is that to realize going from college to the NFL, like, oh, this is an everyday job now, all year round, not just when you're playing during the season? Was that a big adjustment for you, or were you always like that?
Well, I think the foundation that you have is the foundation, right? There's a lot of, just because you make it pro don't mean you're going to be outside catching 200 balls every single practice, right? A lot of people don't have that kind of foundation. A lot of people just rely on their talent and say, hey, I can just go out there and play. I don't have to do anything extra, right? Your foundation is everything. So for me, I built a strong foundation in high school. I took it to college. I stayed consistent. And I was able to go to the pros. I struggled a bit. It wasn't like low-hanging fruit for me. It wasn't super easy or anything. I had to work to get to where I was. But once I, figured it out, found the formula, I relied on my foundation. I just kept getting better and better and better.
Travis Kelce, Dallas Goedert, 2 big-name tight ends, 2 of the best in the NFL, going to face off on Sunday. Talk to me about each one of those guys and their impact and how you see that game playing out on Sunday through the tight end position.
Yeah, I mean, the tight end position is key, man. It's a very important position.
Yeah.
I think Travis Kelce has really done a great job utilizing his talent to the best of his ability, and we see what he's able to do. He's able to go out there and find those soft spots.
Yeah.
And which is all the quarterback. He's always trusting us as a tight end to be what we need to be, and Travis Kelce does is the best. The window that he's able to find to get Patrick Mahomes a target is few and far between. So I applaud him for being savvy, allowing his ability to just take play. Right, it's been awesome to watch. But like you said, we have 2 great tight ends that's going up against each other. But the best, like he's always been, is going to be Travis Kelce. He's going to show that, hey, this position is very important when it comes to playing football.
I'm gonna follow up on that real quickly. Then you say Kelce's the best. Do you think Travis Kelce is the best tight end in football history, or is it Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Rob Gronkowski? If you had to, who's your number 1 all time?
I mean, right now, I'm going to have to say, I don't think he is number 1. I think Rob Gronkowski is number 1.
Yeah.
Then I will put Travis Kelce behind him. Then I'll say Tony Gonzalez and Shannon Sharp, then Antonio Gates.
Yeah. So that's a hell of a top 5.
So Jim Harbaugh back in the NFL. You were there for the first, go around with Jim Harbaugh. Do you have any crazy story? Like, what we see on camera is authentically him all the time.
Well, what did you see? Did you see the ink stain on his pocket, on his right pocket? Or did you see the cookies in his
it's the khakis,
in his bag?
The khakis in the cold plunge tub is what really was eye-opening to me.
Well, the funniest thing I saw was when I walked outside during training camp and I saw a new player. I thought it was a new player. He was dressed up head to toe in full pads, cleats. He turns around, it's Jim Harbaugh.
Okay. He's ready to roll.
He's ready to
roll?
roll?
I said, this guy is hilarious.
Now, why was he doing, did he actually go out and practice? Or he was just trying to make a statement?
Went out and practice.
Went out and practice?
With the second
passes?
team. Yeah.
Okay.
No non-contact jersey?
Oh, you couldn't touch him. Yeah, all the quarterbacks had to. All the quarterbacks wore the yellow jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you had to, you couldn't touch him.
Vernon, you've had a fascinating career post-football, including as a producer and actor. You've got a new show coming out. Tell me about this.
I do. It's called Match Point. It's about me and my buddy, teammate that I won the Super Bowl with, Omar Bolden.
Okay.
We star as two tennis players decides to retire.
Okay.
And create a podcast. Everything goes wrong.
Right.
It's so funny, man. It's a mockumentary, breaking the fourth wall. That's what it's all about. But I'm excited about it. It's super fun. It's coming out on Apple and Amazon February 11th. I can't wait for everyone to see it. It's just super hilarious.
Are you still curling?
You know what? With the stuff that I'm doing with Smirnoff, like I'm here for the Smirnoff longest tailgate, where they have this 60-foot truck bed.
Okay.
Flo Rida's going to be performing.
Nice.
It's going to be incredible, man. I'm excited about it. They're always coming up with these great ideas. It's going to be off the charts, man.
Okay.
The reason I ask is we were hoping we'd have you in the Milan Olympics, selfishly. That's what we wanted you with curling. We were hoping we'll get Vernon Davis on Peacock, on the Gold Zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you telling me there's no chance?
You know what? I'll keep hope alive.
Give me a non-zero chance.
Maybe at some point in life, but that was fun, going to the Olympics. I've been to 3 Olympics with the U.S. curling team.
Yeah.
I've been to Vancouver, Sochi, and Pyeongchang. Incredible experience. Even, understanding the game of curling and seeing how much work it takes to be great at that sport. It's been awesome.
What's bigger, the Olympics or the Super Bowl, in terms of an experience?
Oh, man, they're both equally big, man. They're both huge, especially when you...
Because you played in 2 Super Bowls, right? And 2 Super Bowls, 3 Olympics. So I'm curious. Tell me what's a bigger... Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that question because they're both huge.
Yeah.
They're both. It's a lot. A lot comes with these huge events. NFL, Super Bowl, the U.S. Olympics. There's all kinds of activities, all kinds of people. It is what it is, and they're both huge.
So you've done all of these things now after a long football career. Is there something else on the list here, like something you want to do that people might be surprised by?
I think the things that I'm doing is everything's unexpected. Like, the opportunities I get with Smirnoff. I know I'm here for the longest tailgate, but I had an opportunity a few months ago to do something with Complex and Smirnoff. You can go to SmirnoffDrops.com to find more. It was amazing, and we call it the Smirnoff Extraordinary Drops.
Okay.
Right? And these drops were things that I had to go around my house and collect that were prized possessions that I wanted to give away to fans.
Okay.
I cried with some of these drops, man. I didn't want to give away, but I said, it means more for someone else to have.
What was the toughest one to give away?
My signed Super Bowl 50 football.
Oh my God.
Man.
We're talking about, I'm sorry, man, I'm crying a little bit. Somebody give me some tissue. But we're talking Peyton Manning, DeMarcus Ware, Von Miller.
Sure, of course.
I'll never get that football back ever again, man.
No.
It's out in the atmosphere now.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I might be crying for you.
Yeah.
He said Smirnoff Extraordinary Drops.
Smirnoff Extraordinary Drops?
No, Smirnoff Extraordinary Drops.
Startnary.
Startnary?
No. like extraordinary? Smirnoff Extraordinary.
Oh,
guy
Smirnoff extraordinary.
Right, Smirnoff extraordinary.
Extraordinary drops.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
I'll promo this with you.
I appreciate that. Do you have a prediction for the game on Sunday?
Eagles winning by 2 touchdowns.
Really?
No, not Eagles. Kansas City Chiefs winning by 2 touchdowns.
It was like, dude.
Not the Eagles, the Chiefs. Come on.
Chiefs.
Come on.
Yeah.
Get us in the first half.
Yeah. So, listen, Vernon, thank you to our friends at Smirnoff and The Longest Tailgate for making you available to us. Good luck with the Apple TV, Amazon show as well. Match Point, you said, comes out.
February 11th.
February 11th. Yep. We'll look forward to that. Congratulations on an incredible career. And I would say it, but it's not over because it keeps going. And continued success to you, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I noticed something. First off, I just want to show you, this is a picture from yesterday. Stephen, go ahead and show the picture from yesterday if you can. So this was great. This is Connor, this is me and you.
Yeah.
Jay Croucher. This is what was posted.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I actually did not see this.
Crop City, baby.
He said to me that jokingly, he's like, should I post this? And I laughed. I didn't think he actually was going to crop us.
He cut you and I both out of the picture.
It's every man for himself in Vegas, Matthew. That is what they say. And that applies to the crop game in photos as well.
All right, well, we are back at the happy hour desk with Jay Croucher's best friend, Puka Nacua.
Yes,
we
sir.
have visual proof, of course. So, and once again, somehow I get screwed here, and there's going to be another photo after the thing, and once again, he'll just be like, yeah, it's me and Puka, my boy Puka, and I'm out here on the end. You are, however, Puka, a friend to fantasy managers everywhere. 18.8 fantasy points per game. You were the second best wide receiver in fantasy football. Almost 1,000 yards, 4 total touchdowns, battled through injuries throughout the year. So, first off, just congratulations on another fantastic season.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Puka, obviously, to build on last year's success was incredibly impressive. Do you feel like your game evolved in a particular way this year, or is it largely just the continuation of the success from the previous year?
I think there was I feel like the movements definitely felt a little bit different. Still running the routes that we have in our offense, but just being a more efficient and consistent, I think 100%. Obviously trying to fight back from injury and not being able to play in as many games, but then that also is a part of the game. But being out there to provide my skills and my talents to our football team every Sunday is a job of mine. So I enjoy the challenge that presents, and then to be able to go out there and consistently perform well.
Yeah, did you find, I mean, last year, 5th-round rookie, who's Puka Nacua, right? And you sort of burst onto the scene. This year, they knew you were coming. Every defensive coordinator that faced the Rams was like, all right, we got to figure out what we're going to do with Nacua. Did you find it more difficult this year in year 2 and schemes, shoving more coverage your way and having to adjust to that?
Yeah, I think there's definitely noticing that, that teams would kind of throw some extra covers my way, but I think it was exciting because it's still there's still ways to get dialed up for our offense to get me open and the opportunities to give me the ball, but then it's not forced. We have a great quarterback. We have other great guys on the football field, so the ability to get other guys in one-on-ones and for them to win it, it's super exciting because the goal is to be here at Super Bowl weekend to be able to hoist that trophy with those guys. So the team success will allow for me to succeed as well. So it's been fun kind of seeing some different coverages and what it's like to be like, all right, I beat this guy, but I got to beat the other guy too. So it provides a different challenge while you're playing the game of football.
Yeah, well, one of the guys out there on the field with you the past couple of years has been Cooper Kupp. That's the big news in Rams world, that Cooper Kupp potentially leaving the team. Can you just speak about how Cooper has helped your development and your just feelings overall?
Yeah, he's been a huge mentor to me. The moment I walked into the Rams facility, he did everything to help me understand what it's like to be a professional, what it's like to succeed at the highest level, what it's like to be a good teammate. I've been blessed to be able to watch him in the offseason be a good husband and a good father to his boys, and to see what it's like to be consistent in all phases of your life. So it's something that I don't take for granted, and I truly enjoy the relationship that I've been able to build with him in these last 2 years, and to be able to go out there on the football field and compete with him, and it's been nothing but a dream come true and a great start to my career.
I have to say, so LA is now the town of Puka and Luka, two big stars. But after that, after and huge news obviously in Los Angeles sports, obviously Luka coming to the Lakers. But after Cooper announced what he did on social media, that the Rams intend to trade him, or at least attempt to, you tweeted out, I believe, I'm paraphrasing here, but you tweeted out, I thought it was just NBA trade season. Want to expand on that tweet at all?
Yeah, like you said, the recent news of the Luka Doncic trade had just barely broke. It was right out. I just finished watching the Lakers play the Knicks. They had a great game. They go out there and beat one of the best teams in the league. And then right after the game, it's announced that Shams, whoever the reporter is like, all right, Luka's actually getting traded. AD's gone, and you're like, is this real? And I'm like confused if that's real. And then everybody confirms it. It's like a whole big thing. Luka's coming to LA, and then it feels like it was the next 20 minutes that it was announced. It felt like that Cooper Kupp said that he was getting traded, and it was. Yeah, it's not something I enjoyed. I thought it was just them. I didn't know that was we're in the season of that. I thought that was later or whenever. I didn't know that. I especially didn't want it to happen to our team.
Yeah, exactly. You a Lakers fan?
I am a Lakers fan.
How can you not be? I am as well. We have that in common. Let's go Lakers. Yeah, no, stop it. Come on, Lakers are awesome. Have you had a chance to talk to Cooper recently?
We spoke. He spoke to our group chat, our team group chat before. That it went public, and then we've spoken a little bit after, but nothing. I've been out here in New Orleans.
Yeah, but how's he doing?
I believe he's doing good. He's still. He's the professional at the highest level, and he's handling it the right way. And I'm excited to get to see him when I go back.
Yep. Well, we all know about you and Cooper and Kyren Williams, who was just on the show an hour ago, some of the big names on the Rams. Is there anyone who goes a little bit under the radar you think could potentially break out next year?
I don't know. I guess I wouldn't say he's under the radar, but I just think of our whole young offense or defensive line right now. I think of those four guys across the way, 4 or 5 guys, whoever ends up lining up. But I think there would be Fisk, Verse, Kobe Turner, Byron Young. We got guys all over the place, and it's super exciting to see them really start to play well and unite as a group.
Let's talk about that receiver group, though. If Cooper does end up moving on from the Rams, that's going to open up a lot of opportunities. You're always going to get your targets as well. But and we know DeMarcus has had some real nice moments as well. But who are you seeing among the young guys in the receiver corps that you're like on the practice field? You're like, if that kid gets more snaps, watch out.
I think Jordan Whittington played really great for us in the snaps that he was able to get, and then being able to learn quickly kind of how the offense goes and being able to be put in different spots. And I think as somebody like Tutu Atwell, who's stayed consistent and ready for us throughout the whole season, and whether he was playing 45 snaps for us or playing 15, he's going out there, provides the threat of being a consistent pass catcher, and then he could take the top off of any defense with his speed. So to have somebody like that who you could wish you could get 55 snaps out of, and if that opportunity presents the potential that provides to our offense, so I think it'll be super exciting.
Okay. We spoke to Kyren about what a unique quarterback Matthew Stafford is with, the weird arm angles and creating out of structure. Did you feel that in year 2 with Stafford that, you had much more of a rapport with him, or was it something that just kind of clicked instantly? It's just a continuation?
I think it definitely something that requires work. Being able to be out in LA in the offseason and be able to be out there with him and catch passes from him in the offseason and run full speed routes and to be able to get that timing and rhythm under down there. I think it played off because we didn't getting hurt in the season. There's not a time where I'm trying to come back from rehab and Matthew's throwing extra reps after he's already been out there at practice. So some of those things you practice, the practice reps, they matter. So it was super fun because he takes great pride in not being able to miss anywhere, and I'm like, man, I should be able to catch the ball if he's putting it in the one spot I should catch it.
Hey, Puka, you faced the Eagles twice this season, including in your last game of the season. That was our last game as well, NBC's. We had that playoff game. I'm curious, what do the Chiefs wide receivers need to do against that Eagles defense? Talk to me about facing Philly's secondary.
Yeah, I think run after the catches will be huge for them. I think they do a good job of just being able to rush with their 4 guys up front. And then when they play stickier coverage, you're going to have to take advantage. They have a great quarterback in Patrick Mahomes who can throw the ball pretty dang well. So it'll be exciting to see him be able to get those guys open. But you're going to get a chance to have some man coverages mixed in there, and then you got to take advantage of those opportunities.
Who do you think wins?
I think the Eagles are going to win. I think the Eagles pull it off.
Okay, nice.
Well, Puka, we know you got to get out of here soon, but real quickly, talk to me about your partnership with Pepsi.
Yeah, Go Bowling and Pepsi are putting on a bowling event tomorrow. I'm going to be out there, and we're going to see who's good at bowling. I think I'm good at bowling. I got a Rams bowling ball that's specifically fit for me, so I'm going to hopefully show everybody that I can bowl. I say I average about a 200 score, so close to a good game.
Pretty good, yeah.
But it'll be fun if you go to gobowling.com. They have you can get a free coupon for a free bowling game, which is super fun. Everybody needs to get out there and catch the lanes while they're nice and ready. But it'll be fun to come out if you're out here in New Orleans. You can come out here tomorrow for the event, and there'll be some other NFL players out there bowling. But
who else is competition?
I'm not. We'll see who's coming up tomorrow. It could be. I don't know if any of the NFL players are good as bowling as me, so I'm not viewing them as competition. It's somebody who's out here that's ready to actually bowl.
Let's go. I like that. Well, listen, you're a fantasy football superstar. You're a superstar in the NFL. It's been a pleasure to talk to you each of these couple years. Hopefully, we get to do this again next year. But continued success to you, Puka. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, our great day of interviews here on Radio Row continues in New Orleans. We got Cam Jordan in the house.
Yes, sir.
Cam, what's happening?
Yeah.
Man, I'm overly blessed and happy to be here.
You are an energy guy. Like if you don't know, like Cam's just like zipping around the set.
Yeah, I'm pushing this wonderful Segway around today.
It's pretty sick,
Like,
man.
come on, it's a GT3 Pro. It's meant for people like me. It's big. It's sturdy. You know, I haven't crashed it, so I don't know if it gets back up. But
we'll find out at some point.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Not that I'd ever want to drop it. I'm treating the thing like it's one of my favorite toys right now.
Yeah. Why we couldn't get it on the stage? What happened to it? Who got it right now?
Drew had rode off with it. Drew Brees just rode off with it, so I think he's bringing it back, hopefully.
Yeah.
But you know, men, when you get around something fun and you're able to take a spin in it, it's not a short spin.
Right.
We're here for a good time, not a long time.
Yes, sir. Indeed.
Cam, we're having a good time in New Orleans. Where are the you know better than anyone? Where are the spots that we need to be before
Man,
this
you go
weekend?
Lower Garden District. You can go to like Turkey and the Wolf.
Okay.
There's a pickleball place I go to, the Exchange over there. If you come over towards the Dome, we just got our own. What is that? A golfing experience? 504.
Oh, they got like simulators and stuff?
No, real thing.
Oh.
Like think Top Golf, but again 504, the competitor. We've been waiting on this forever. We had to go to like Baton Rouge for this.
Oh wow.
I mean, the places to eat, you're going to find every corner. Just follow your nose. It's not going to steer you wrong here.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about the many places, whether it's Nia's, Mr. Ed's, you go out to the West Bank, you go to Antoine's Famous Cakes.
Yeah.
Come on, there's so many places. West Bank is across the bridge, by the way.
Right.
That helps.
Yeah,
I actually, somebody just told me about that like 2 days ago.
Yeah, you in the East right now.
Yeah, okay.
You know? They call it East Bank. I will never, but there's East New Orleans, where it has some really great food as well.
Yeah.
Come on, you can't go wrong here. Mothers, brothers.
Yeah.
This city's unbelievable.
Exactly. Bearcat. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So look, that one meme with Vince Carter. It's like, I got one more left in me.
One more. Yeah. One more in me.
So let me give you some credit for your football career first and foremost. There's only 30 men that ever played in the NFL that got more sacks than you. How many more does Cam Jordan have than him?
Are we counting those that like when it didn't count? Because if we exclude
those,
after 82 when the sacks counted,
then
it's like 22 or something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, it's fine. Like, how do I feel? I feel like it's time to whittle those numbers down.
Yeah.
You know, if we talk about active players, Von Miller's out there.
Yeah,
but it's fine. I'm gonna be scooting along.
In the scooter.
Yeah, in the
you
scooter.
save your legs.
Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
All right, Cam, we've heard, we've kind of, obviously heard all the rumors about Kellen Moore, and I don't want to ask you specifically about Kellen Moore until that's not official. But what do you think actually makes a great head coach qualities-wise? Everybody argues offensive play caller or leader of men or, all these different cliches.
There's always going to be attributes, right? There's going to be, hey, you need somebody serious, or you need somebody who's serious
players
and lighthearted.
Coach,
you need somebody,
sergeant.
Exactly, a player's coach, or you need somebody who's going to run an operation.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, a head coach is like a president, right? You can have whoever you want as your figurehead, but what does your cabinet look like?
Yeah.
What does your head coach look like? Great. What does your OC look like? What does your DC look like? Who are your position coaches that are actually molding these men?
Yeah.
A head coach, phenomenal.
Yep.
You need a great leader, right? And you see the effects when you have one. But it's also built out by who you're trusting with the men you're supposed to be leading.
Right. So your boy Alvin Kamara stayed healthy, played well, went healthy as usual.
Right.
We saw Kendre Miller start to get some reps, the young guy in there. How do you see that backfield taking shape going forward?
I mean, I think there's a lot of guys that show talent. There was Jordan Mims at the end of the year that popped up as well.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Clyde Hilaire.
Yeah.
Hilaire? Yeah, Hilaire.
CEH.
Exactly. Man, there's no easy name on that man, but he runs hard, so he earns it. I think there's backfield potential there.
Yeah.
When I think about even before the draft, whoever we pick it up, when healthy, our team was special. But that's just
had
it.
a good start.
We had a great start, and that's
Yeah.
what you saw, a great start. The only thing faster than our great start going 2-0 is the Segway GT3 Pro, because it's the number one,
This man is a pro.
number one scooter company in the world.
Cam, all the combo about the Super Bowl is about
electric scooter
the
company.
lines.
There's all types of
Yes.
scooters, electric scooters.
All the combos about the Eagles O-line, the
Yeah.
Eagles D-line.
Uh-huh.
What do you think of those units? They kind of have a reputation, at least the Eagles O-line is the best in the NFL right now.
Who
Yet
said that?
Everybody.
You guys said that?
We say that.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Everybody
Is
though
it-
won't
is
pick
it- is it the Christmas album that they released a couple years ago?
It's pretty good.
Okay. That's what we want to listen to.
So you got to drop an album now.
Yeah, that'll happen after I win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, okay.
I'll drop a smooth 10 tracks.
Strike
Called an
while
album.
the iron. That's good. You don't want the 20 track.
No. They won't be a double album. My name's not E40.
Yeah.
We won't Chris Brown
Right.
and have 3 back-to-back albums on there. No.
Yeah.
It'll just be a 10 track.
Yeah.
It'd be like Andre 3000 and the flute album.
Y'all be on the lookout for that.
Please don't.
You got a winner for me, Cam, before we sign off?
Man, I appreciate you guys letting me come on here, talk about the Segways. I mean, we also think Segway is scooters, but they got electric bikes too now.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, from in the city, I've been out here going. If you're going to see me the next couple of days, it's going to be on a scooter or a bike in between traffic, because the traffic's OD right now.
Me and Lawrence are going to find you. We're going to race you. Cam Jordan, thanks so much for the time, man. Be a
Appreciate it. Indeed.
Back on the Fantasy Football Happy Hour desk, Jay Croucher and Matthew Berry with Fantasy Football royalty, Jonathan Taylor. Look at these numbers here. 5th in the NFL in rushing attempts, 4th in rushing yards, 3rd in rushing yards per game, and top 12 in the NFL in rushing touchdowns. JT, always a pleasure to have you, man. Thanks and congratulations on a great season.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me on. I know you guys got a lot going on, so I appreciate you taking the time out.
I love it. JT, so obviously a tough year for the Colts overall, how it ended, but you personally ended the season on an absolute tear. 4+ 100-yard rushing yards games to end the season. How do you take that momentum into next year?
I think you carry that into the offseason and you realize and you understand, one, you want to be playing your best ball at the end of the year. So being able to finish off like that was awesome. But now you have to kind of reset, because it's a year-to-year league. It doesn't really matter what you did last year. It's, hey, what are you going to do this year? Can you prove it again? So just being able to take that feeling, being able to take those emotions and how I felt at the end of the year and push that into my training to help have a great offseason. If you have a great offseason, that sets you up for a great end season.
I remember in 2021, you ended the season in similar fashion, over even a longer stretch where, you had that 200-yard game against the Bills, you had the huge run to beat the Patriots on national TV that game. Is there something about the end of the season where you feel like you build into the year?
Yeah, man, and shout out to my high school coach, Montre Wright. I mean, he's always said, you want to play your best ball in November and December. So, of course, now translating into the league, it's really that December, that January ball. You want to be playing your best football. So I've always been someone to want to finish strong, because those are the games that's going to matter.
You know what, you talk about finishing strong. I want to talk about this because I thought this was so impressive. So you had the game, I think it was week 14, but the fumble at the goal line, right? Before you're ready to celebrate, you ended up celebrating a little bit too early, right? There's the fumble. And then, the next week you go 3 touchdowns, you run into the tunnel, like you have fun with it and everything like that. But talk to me about that week, because obviously that was a play that got a lot of attention, and there's this whole week, and you can't wait to get back on the field and prove yourself. Yeah. But I feel like a lot of players would have just cowered in that moment and got into themselves, and you came out even stronger. So talk to me about that week and that process getting over that moment.
Yeah, that was definitely tough, especially with the implications that they had. It was hence probably the reason why I was so excited. And it definitely was a while since I kind of broke loose and had a long run. But talking to teammates, family, friends, you think about all of the touchdown runs I've had, all of the carries I've had in my whole career, and that never has happened. So it was definitely devastating, but then it was also made it a bit easier to get ready for that next week, because you understood this wasn't something of habit. It was just a mishap that happened, and you understood, like, listen, okay, if you ever go through a stint again where you may have a bunch of games with just tough yards, and when you finally do break loose, just wait a couple more steps until you get in the end zone to start celebrating.
Yeah, I think also people didn't give you enough credit for the fact that after that game, you talked to reporters, you answered every single question for a long time, and they're asking the same question in like a different way, and you just respectfully answered every question there. So I thought that was really cool to see. A guy who's under a lot of scrutiny this year is Anthony Richardson. He's obviously had some huge moments, and I think he showed a lot of growth over the course of the year. Can you just talk about how he evolved as a quarterback and what you're expecting from him?
Yeah, it's a tough league, and I don't think people still realize how young he is.
Yeah.
There are guys coming in this draft who are like 24. I think he's still like 22.
Yeah.
He's only played 13 games in college. I think now 15 in the NFL. So he still hasn't played a bunch of ball. But one thing that people don't see is he's in his iPad. He's in the playbook. He's getting extra reps on the field. He's doing the things that need to be done to make a great quarterback. He's just young, and it's a tough league. You know, everybody wants to win right now. Everybody wants to be a superstar right now. It takes time, but we're 100% behind him, especially us as teammates. We understand and we know the work that he's putting in. He's going to put in a ton of work this offseason, just like the rest of us, because we need to come together this next offseason for something special. You know, we want to be here in a different setting. You know, we want to be in the hotel getting ready to play in the big game.
You not only did you play with Anthony Richardson this year, you also played with comeback player of the year Joe Flacco, the reigning comeback player of the year. You know, I am curious to you though, what is the obviously very different quarterbacks in terms of style, in terms of their physicality. Talk to me about the difference between playing with Joe versus playing with Anthony in terms of how your role in the offense emerges.
And number one, Joe, he's so smart. He'll know where everything is supposed to be. I mean, and at the end of the day, I talk about how young AR is. Nothing beats experience. So all of the defensive schemes that Joe has seen throughout his years, I mean, he's able to recognize it within like 5 seconds. Loves to be under center. I mean, that's probably most likely where he's most comfortable at. But then you can tell Anthony, he's on the new school. He's in the gun. He likes using his legs as a threat, that's one of his most dangerous threats that he has. But I like having that kind of yin and yang. I mean, you got the new school, you got the old school, like you grew up watching Joe Flacco, but you can still learn, and I think that AR has been able to learn from him. Shoot, I've even been learning from Joe, because when I have quarterbacks like that, the Phillip Rivers, the Matt Ryans, I say, hey, what has a running back done that's made your job easier? Like, that's what I like to do.
Tell me something you learned from Joe Flacco this year.
Number one thing that Joe said is I always love, definitely you want receivers to be in a spot, but, coverages, they change when the ball snaps. He said, but having my running back in the spot he's supposed to be in is always a great feeling, because you have an outlet. So now that's my thinking. When I'm in there with Joe, I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, check protection and then get to my spot.
Yeah, it did seem like they were using you more in the passing game this year, which was nice to see, because you are somebody that can catch the ball. They just, Wisconsin never threw the ball to the running backs, so it was never part of your game. Didn't need to be, because you're scoring all these touchdowns, but it does feel like that's kind of an expansion of your game, and you were able to show that skill set some this year.
Definitely. That's why I love Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen, if you're the guy, if you're one of his guys, he's not mixing and matching people. Well, okay, I'll put this guy in. He's like, no, I know our guy can do it. I'll scheme it up for him, and this is the play that we're going to run. And I think he just lets you utilize your talents, and that's something I'm going to continue to grow in, continue to still hone in on Shane's system to make sure, like, hey, no matter what he asks of me, I'm able to do it and do it at a high level.
Yep. How's it been like, the change from going from, initially Frank Reich and now Shane Steichen? Shane is thought of as this, offensive guru, a lot of RPO stuff, saw the work that he did in Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts, and now with Gardner Minshew last year, and now with Joe and Anthony. That's a lot of different quarterbacks, but what is it like playing for Shane?
It's amazing. I mean, there's been times that I go out on the practice field, and he's like, hey, JT, come here. And just like the movies, a little piece of paper, and he's like, this is what I'm thinking. Draw a little play up. He's like, I'm going to run it, during third period. And you're like, okay, let's do it. Like, he's always constantly thinking, how can I put my guys in a position to be successful and out-coach the opposing coach?
One of the things, we're a fantasy football show, so we look at numbers, and there's a lot of debate in the fantasy football industry, for whatever reason. I'll tell you what side I'm on, but that, hey, a running quarterback, somebody who's as mobile as Anthony Richardson, is bad for a running back in terms of production, just because, hey, you get in close, and maybe Anthony keeps it to get into the end zone. We see Jalen Hurts, definitely think about what kind of season Saquon would have had if Jalen didn't take so many 1-yard runs. But I'm of the argument that because of the threat of Anthony Richardson's ability, it opens up lanes for you guys, especially because Shane does so much RPO stuff. And I'm just curious what Richardson's mobility does for your game.
For me, it lets you play a lot faster. When you have a quarterback that really doesn't have the threat of his legs, you kind of really have to play with your tempo and kind of manipulate the backers, bring them to their blocks. But when you have a guy like Anthony and he's able to use his legs, you're able to just play faster because you know that backer is going to be out of position. Whether it's a foot, whether it's 2 feet, he's going to be out of position. So now you can just hit it full speed. So it kind of just lets you play that much faster.
Yep. Do you pay a lot of attention to the other running backs around the league week to week? Guys like, Saquon and Derrick Henry, who probably had the best running back season since your 2021, along with CMC last year. Do you watch them and kind of drives you to be better each week?
100%. I mean, we all are fans of the game, and we love watching other guys. And number one, I mean, Saquon is playing out of this world this year. Something I think is a little underrated that I don't know why people aren't talking about. Derrick Henry, what he's been doing the past few years, he's on a crazy tear. But then also guys who also walked last year, like Josh Jacobs, he had a great year. So I do think it's funny how things change from one year to the next, because last year it was, is there value there? And now it's, oh my gosh, they're super valuable.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite running back in the NFL?
Number one, for sure, Derrick Henry. Like I just mentioned, the consistency. I'm a big consistency guy. The consistency he's playing with is out of this world. 15+ hundred yards like the past 4 seasons. I mean, that's insane.
Yep.
He's a genetic freak of nature. Like, he's just a genetic freak of nature. I met him once, and I'm just like, how are you and I the same species? Like, it's unbelievable.
Okay, well,
like, that guy is...
You're not the same species. He's different.
That's fair.
Have you ever spoken to Derrick about, how he's been able to keep his body in this shape? Because, he was supposed to fall off, 5 years ago, and he's still going in that way.
He brings them bad news every single year. But I think it's in his preparation. He's actually currently, I think he's working out right now. And once you hit a certain age, I know a lot of teams, they think that's the end, but athletes are very regimented. And really, if you take care of your body in the proper way, you're technically not actually the age that you technically are, because you're in just a different type of shape, in which he takes very seriously.
Yep.
I want to go back to the Colts offense here for a second, JT. And so, listen, Pittman's a stud. We all know you and AR. Josh Downs had some really nice moments this year as well, kind of emerging. Is there somebody on the Colts offense that the public may not know about, that maybe it's not a household name, but that you've seen in practice and you're like, you know what, if that kid can get some more snaps, watch out?
There are two. One, you guys kind of got a real good glimpse of it this year. Alec Pierce.
Yeah.
Crazy. I think he went into the last game with 36 catches with 800 yards, which is insane.
Yeah.
But then also Ashton Dillon.
Oh,
He's
really?
another
Okay.
receiver. I mean,
sure.
I've never seen someone who is fast, strong, had great hands, big playmaking ability. He's a tear on special teams. I do think that if Ashton Dillon had more snaps, I mean, he'd be a household name. He's very talented.
Okay, that's cool.
I like that name.
I know,
Okay.
JT, you kind of were famously never got hurt, and you didn't miss a practice up until 2022 or whatever. Now, the past few years, you've dealt with a few more injuries, nothing like chronic, but just these niggling little things. Has that changed the way that you manage an off-season at all, and how are you kind of feeling at the moment?
No, I mean, it doesn't change it. Of course, you always want to give a little bit more attention to certain areas that you had problems with. But I was very blessed to really not miss, like you said, a game or a practice for a very long time, and had a lot of carries for a lot of seasons. So in my mind, being able to not even rationalize it, but at some point, the injury rate in the NFL is 100%.
Yeah.
The fact that it took until year 4, year 3 for something that happened to me in my whole career, it's a blessing. It's a testament to me taking care of my body. But now it's all about just getting back on track and now starting a new streak. That's all you can do is start a new streak.
I like that a lot. Let's talk about this game on Sunday. Obviously, you've got Saquon on one side, you got Pacheco and Hunt on the other. How do you see specifically the run games impacting Sunday, and who do you think wins?
Number one, I think the Chiefs are a very strategic run game kind of team. They run the ball when they know they need to run the ball, and they execute it very well. I think Philadelphia, they have a explosive element to their run game. I mean, Saquon, it could be a 3rd and 1 run. Hey, let's just go get the first down, and he takes it 40 or he takes it 60 yards. So whenever you have an element like that, that's definitely a game changer. I think that it'll definitely be a tough matchup for them. Their defense is very stout. The Chiefs' defense is very stout, but that's why you go and get a guy like Saquon Barkley to go and combat that.
Yep, absolutely.
Who do you think wins?
For me, fellow running back Saquon Barkley, I think he's definitely going to be a huge help to them. But then also, he's up for Defensive Player of the Year. A fellow Wisconsin teammate, Zach Bond.
Yep.
Let's go.
I have a lot of confidence that he'll help have that defense shut everything down. So I do think the Eagles are talented enough. I obviously want the Eagles to win. I want my fellow Badger to win. I want my fellow running back brother to win. So I'm thinking the Eagles take it.
Okay.
Fair enough. Last question for you, JT, before we get you out of here. Thank you so much for your time. You're here in partnership with Dairy Queen.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Dairy Queen has been taking such good care of me, not only in season, but definitely more so off season. I can indulge a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I'm here on behalf of them promoting their Toss and Toss honey barbecue chicken strip basket. And of course, if I get that, I have to get the Oreo Blizzard treat. That's just automatic. I'm actually going there right after this. This may not be me running around on the field, but this is taxing. You know, you're walking around, you're doing a lot of interviews.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to fuel myself back up. So I'm definitely going there after this. If you guys want any, actually, we could probably take care of you. I'll take care. I'll make sure when you guys leave here, we'll give you a little something. Just because that's the type of business that Dairy Queen is.
Okay, love it. Well,
appreciate that.
Indianapolis Colts fantasy superstar, real life superstar, Jonathan Taylor. Thank you so much for your time, JT. We're going to hit a break, come back with last call, our best receiver props for the Super Bowl.
We are now joined by the best running back in the 2025 NFL Draft, Ashton Jeanty, coming off a legendary college season. What's going on, man? How are you?
So what's up, man? I see y'all got the stats up there.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm looking at the stats, and we know the stats, right? But when when you look at them again, it's just like, damn.
Crazy.
Yeah, I actually we can roll those back up. That is just everyone knows that's not a career.
Yeah.
That's not the Boise State career. This is
that
the
ain't no typo.
2024 season, over 2,600 rushing yards. He got it done in the receiving game. The man was in the end zone, it felt like, every other series. What a year for you, man. How are you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. Obviously an exceptional year, and, just excited to, continue the pre-draft process.
Right.
And, out here doing all these interviews, making a name for myself. So it's been a great experience.
Right. Yeah, so a lot of people, we all expect you to go somewhere in that first round. A couple years ago, Jahmyr Gibbs was taken 12th overall by the Lions. They expected him to go later in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
How shocked would you be if you went in the top 10?
I think I would be a little shocked. I mean, just, obviously value has been brought back to running backs, but,
yes, sir.
Still then it's hard to, get drafted that high as a running back. But, there's a couple different teams that I think, would want me, and, one of them might trade up or, those Chicago Bears sitting pretty nice at 10.
Y'all hear that, Chicago Bears?
I think that might be a nice destination as well, but any team that would pick me in the top 10, that would be special.
I think that'd be a good idea by Ben Johnson kicking off his Bears coaching career. You get Ashton Jeanty in the backfield. Listen, man, so you're going to be at the Combine in a couple of weeks. We'll see you there as well. What do you tell teams? Because, right, it's a sales campaign. You're pitching yourself. You're like, man, I'm not just a running back. I'm a playmaker. What do you say to those NFL teams in those meetings?
Yeah. I think, in terms of, football, right, we'll be able to get on the board and, they'll be able to learn a little bit more about me as a football player and, my IQ and, that I'm more than just, a running back, but I actually know what I'm doing out there. I know what defenses are doing.
Right.
I know what we're doing as an offense. But I think the most important thing is selling who I am as a person to them, right? Because that's really who they're drafting, right? You know, the character, the young man that I am, and, how I'm going to influence and, everybody around me in a positive way. I really want to spread that message across to, all the teams. But also, I've been told, man, don't just let them ask you questions. Interview them as well, right? So I think it's going to be a great opportunity.
And speaking of the Combine, right, we all know the most, known event at the Combine is the 40-yard dash. Now, you get a lot of comps to Emmitt Smith. We kind of see you as more of an explosive version of Emmitt Smith. And you see it on the field. You see that on-field speed. What's that speed going to look like? What that 40 time going to be looking like?
Hey, I think it's going to be looking nice. I think I'm 4.4 or under 4.4.
Let's go.
So I think I'm going to be moving pretty good. That'll do it for sure.
That'll do it.
Ashton, one thing I noticed about watching your film before this year, like over summer, you have the best balance I have seen from a running back prospect. Right. How did you develop that? Is that something you can develop? I know you've been lifting since you were very young, but 300-pound guys just fall off of you, and you don't even lose a step.
Yeah, I think, people say being short is, a disadvantage in football, but I think it's an advantage being that I have a low center of gravity. Right. And then I think a lot of it is just God-given talent, right? Everybody doesn't have what I have, but also, the work ethic, right? Working on my power, right? So, in the weight room, you know, squatting more than everybody, lifting more than everybody. You know, that's what really helps him be able to, you know, bounce off these defenders.
Yeah, and speaking of those defenders, when you get in the league, in college, it was a lot of dudes who you just ran through them like they were air. Now, when you gonna get into this league you gonna get into this league with these grown men.
Yeah, grown for sure.
So when you get to that second level, which linebacker are you like looking forward to competing against? And there's your comp right there. Emmitt Smith, one of the best to do it. With the up and coming right there.
Sir.
What's up, big dog? Yes, sir. He is next.
Come on.
That's straight
That's
from
right.
Emmitt Smith saying
That's
he's
the guy
next.
right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's a linebacker you looking forward to competing with?
I'd say Fred Warner. I think he's special, man.
Right.
But not only would I like, you know, meet him in the hole, but you know, he's a guy who's gonna, you know, cover you as well coming out the backfield. So just to, you know, go against a guy like that, you know, iron sharpens iron. You know, I like to go against the best competition, and you know, I think he's one of the best linebackers in the game right now.
Yeah. So a lot of our audience might not know this. You played some high school football in Italy before you eventually moved back to the States, and the competition got cranked up a couple notches, and you still dominated. What was that like? Just it felt like, honestly, a pro player against Pee-wee guys. You were just shredding them up out there.
Yeah, it was great, man. It was a wonderful opportunity. I mean, competition, you know, wasn't the best, but you know, like from a young age to, you know, see the world and also play football. I mean, it's special, right? Even the NFL right now, they're trying to branch out in, you know, different countries. So I think that's pretty cool, but literally, you know, getting on flights or, you know, getting on a bus, traveling to Germany, to France, to Spain to play football. I mean, that was just amazing at a young age to be able to do that.
That's definitely like a different type of experience than any player over here would have, right? You talked earlier about like the character you want to show teams and that they should show you, right? What's something, football's what you do, not who you are. Let the people know some interests you have outside of the game of football.
Outside of the game of football, I mean, I like to play video games. You know what I'm saying? Call of Duty.
On that? You on that new CFB 25?
I am for sure.
Well, you own the game.
I'm in the game, so I gotta, you know what I'm saying, run all over some people with myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've always had a dog growing up, so like I love animals. Like I got a puppy.
Yeah.
Coco, and then I think I've been doing it, you know, a lot all my life just because my dad was in the military, but traveling, like really traveling, seeing different places, man. I love to travel, you know, just see different cultures and, you know, broaden my horizons.
Yeah.
So we talked about Emmitt Smith before. How about some running backs in the league right now that you watch and you're like, man, I'd either like to play like him or I just enjoy watching him play the position at the highest level?
Yeah, I mean, he's the hottest right now. I mean, Saquon Barkley. I mean, I've been watching him since he was at Penn State, man. To me, he's always been one of the best, and, you know, he just needed, you know, kind of a better opportunity, and he's got that. But there's a lot of other guys. You talk about Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Being able to do both, right? Be exceptional in the pass game, but also, I mean, he's going to take it 60, right? And then Bijan Robinson, just seen him earlier as well. He's another great player who's able to be versatile and do both. And Josh Jacobs as well. Just seen him as well. So there's a lot of great running backs in the league right now, and they're all doing a great job at, you know, bringing value back to the position. So it's just been special.
And I think you'll add to that. What would a overall successful rookie season for you look like
individually and team-wise? Yeah, I think, you know, as far as
you can throw some stats out there if you want to.
All right, so
we'll believe you.
Yeah.
I think for sure, rushing for me, I set the bar high, so I'm gonna say rushing for 1,500 yards.
Yeah.
There
we go.
So I'm hoping to go to a team that's got a good old line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to be the rookie of the year. Want to be in the Pro Bowl. And obviously, you know, go to the playoffs. You know, postseason. You know, hopefully be back here, not for interviews, but playing in the actual Super Bowl.
Look, there's players on the Chiefs right now. All the year 3 players in the Chiefs don't know what it's like to not be playing in the Super Bowl.
They've never seen this. They've never been around here.
They don't even know what Radio Row look like.
They got no clue.
Yeah.
If we don't get to have another combo with you, that means something went really, really well with your NFL career. And honestly, we believe in it. So speaking of the game, you got a pick? Eagles, Chiefs?
I got the Eagles and like mainly Saquon just because he's been putting on for running backs. So just so he can, keep putting on for running backs. If he wins the Super Bowl, like, man, that's like the cherry on top.
Yeah.
What about this custom Sharpie I'm holding? It's got the Ashton Jeanty signature, by the way.
You rock with this.
Yeah, it's fly. But, shout out to Sharpie, selecting me as, Rookie of the Year. It's been amazing to partner with them. And, obviously, I want to make my mark moving into the NFL. And, special moments like signing my first contract, do it with a Sharpie SJ, don't get much better than that, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Ashton Jeanty, we appreciate the time, man. We don't think you're going to be waiting too long on draft night. We can't wait to watch it throughout this entire process and watch you at the NFL. Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
We are now joined by the best wide receiver in the 2025 NFL Draft. Yeah, the numbers don't lie for Tet McMillan. T-Mac, what a year, man. Another year over 1,300 yards, 18 touchdowns the last 2 years. The numbers don't lie. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate y'all for having me, man.
What's this like right now? Just running around, everybody wants to talk to you, about to be drafted in a couple months in the first round?
Yeah, it's a dope experience. Me being able to be here as technically I'm still in college,
That's
so
right.
I'm not even in the league yet, but me being able to be around these faces and be able to see different people, and that's all thanks to Sharpie, man. I partnered with them, and they've invited me out here to experience this whole experience. So it's been blessing, man.
I see you done hooked us up with the Sharpie. We got your John Hancock on here too.
It's a good one.
So appreciate that.
No, that's yours. That's my signature. SGL pen. So
appreciate that.
This feels like a wide receiver thing, the elite signature. Like if you're a playmaking wide receiver, you got to have the good signature.
Yeah.
Did you work on that for a while? Or is it natural?
Nah, I didn't work on it. I was
this is just it.
Yeah,
gotta be natural, right?
Yeah.
So look, T-Mac, any receiver who go for 300 yards in a single game, that just screams explosiveness, right? Who are some of the receivers right now that you kind of like in your game too, or maybe you just like to watch them and look up to them?
Man, there's not too many people that I try emulate after. Obviously I steal a bunch of stuff. As a receiver, you always can learn something. Right. So I steal from a bunch of people, but there's not a specific receiver that I watch.
Right. So you just got like a little from here, a little from there, and then it's your boom, T-Mac going out there to get them.
Yeah, I have the advantage as a 6'4" receiver. I'm already bigger than everybody else.
Yes.
So if I can move like a slot receiver, if I can move as a receiver that's maybe 170 or 5'10", 5'9", why not?
Yeah, that's a problem.
I think that's what always surprises people when they turn on your tape. They know you're a big wide receiver. They know you're a dominant threat in the red zone. But your ability after the catch, you move like a smaller wide receiver. Is that something you've always had in you?
What's funny is that, before going into this previous season, a lot of people, a lot of scouts are questioning my speed and my playmaking ability with the ball in my hands. And first game of the season, like you said, I went for 300. I had almost 180 yards after catch.
Right.
So it's like I put everything on display. Like all the doubters and everybody that doubted me and said that I wasn't fast or said that I couldn't run after with the ball in my hands. I literally proved it the first game. So I'm just glad that I got to put that on tape.
Yeah, well, speaking of the doubters, they won't be able to doubt much longer because you're a top 10 player in this draft, right? So and you'll get drafted somewhere around there. So who are a couple of realistic situations where you could say, with this quarterback, I can have the most success out the gate? Who are a couple of guys you kind of look forward to playing with?
Man, it don't matter. At the end of the day, it don't matter. Any opportunity I get to play with any quarterback, at the highest level, it's a blessing. So, man, I'm just looking forward to playing at the next level and playing versus the best of the best.
Yeah.
It's only the beginning.
Yes, sir.
So the grind starts now.
Yeah.
Like it's only the beginning, like I said. So we got to keep going, keep lighting that fire under me, and just ready to compete.
What's crazy is, and people might not know this that are watching our show, you've played with the same quarterback for so long.
Man.
And Noah Fafita.
Yep.
Yeah. You guys played in high school. You played at Arizona together. What is it like just having chemistry with the same guy from that jump of the high school level to the highest level of college football?
I mean, that's every man's dream. You know, as a receiver, your best friend being your quarterback.
That's cool.
You can't ask for much more. And like I said, bro, like I caught a touchdown for him for 8 straight years.
That's crazy.
8 straight years.
That's what NFL players talk about.
Yeah.
Devontae and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
8 straight years, man.
Yeah.
At 3 different levels.
Yeah.
8th grade, high school, and college.
Yeah.
And you know, I just hope, you know, if we're able to get together again in the league, that's that's gonna be a 30 for 30.
Yeah, right.
That's like gotta be a documentary or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Definitely. So we already, you know, top receiver. We consider you the top receiver coming out.
Appreciate it.
We consider Travis Hunter the top corner, and y'all had an unbelievable matchup in the 2023 game. You know, talk about what it's like competing with him, because you're 2 high-level athletes, and just talk about what that whole situation was like.
I mean, man, those are the type of games, the type of moments you wish for.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, we want to get to the next level, and we want to play versus the best. And you can argue that me and him was probably one of the best in that year. So, being able to play versus Travis all these years, it's only been making us better.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
It's iron sharpens iron, like they said. So, I feel like we both got each other ready for the next level. And man, I mean, look at what he's doing now, bro. You know, Heisman winner.
Yeah.
Top 5 pick.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he's putting the world on notice right now, and I mean, in my opinion, he's probably the biggest face in football right now at any level.
That's
so
real.
it's like
That's what's up, man.
It's like, man.
Yeah.
So I wish him nothing but the best, man.
Yeah. When you're going through this process, is it hard not to look at where people are projecting you to go? And because it's got to be exciting. Like I'm a first-round wide receiver. I'm in the top 10 of every single mock draft. Or do you kind of tune all that out because there's so much going on as you get ready for the draft right now?
I mean, they got a bunch of projections, but at the end of the day,
people text you them and stuff like family. and
but
stuff.
they got
you going number 6 overall.
Anything can happen in this game.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just, like I said, man, I'm just super grateful and super blessed to be where I am. You know, not too many people get to do what I do.
Yeah.
You know, 1% of the 1% in the world get to do what I do.
That's
so
right.
me just being able to take that in, just count my blessings, man. You know, just be grateful, be blessed for the whole situation. And shoot, look at me. I'm here with Sharpie. I got my own. I got my own signature personal pen. You know, and I'm looking forward to making my mark in the league and signing my first NFL contract with my SGL Sharpie pen.
Yes,
so.
Yes, sir. What would from an overall standpoint, so you can add the team success, individual success, what does a successful rookie season look like for T-Mac?
Oh, I mean, obviously, you know, you want personal success, you want team success, but I feel like for me, it's just being able to play it, you know, being able to play every game, you know, able to stay healthy the whole season, get through the whole season, be able to play every game. Like, man, that's just like, come on, man. Like,
I dig it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like you said, it's not people that get a chance nor have the talent to do what you do. So I respect that answer.
Come on, just being able to play at the highest level. You know, that's just a blessing in itself. So anything that comes with that, win-win situation.
Yeah. I dig that, man.
A lot of wide receiver talent in this Super Bowl. Even a young guy like Xavier Worthy, but then you got veterans like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, the Nuke Hopkins on the Chiefs. What do you look for with these guys? Like, what excites you about watching these matchups of the best against the best?
I mean, man, this is the stage that everyone wants to be in the NFL. You know, being able to play for the Lombardi Trophy, being able to play in the Super Bowl. You know, that's a dream come true. So I mean, it's, like I said, it's the best of the best, and the receiver talent is crazy. I mean, you know, in the league now, it's a receiver league.
It is.
You know, the league has changed tremendously. You know, especially rookie receivers. You know, rookie records are being broken every year.
Every single year.
So you know, the standard is only going up, and the price is only going up. So it's like, man, I mean, at the end of the day, me being the receiver, it's a good thing, but it puts pressure on my shoulders. But we love that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a dog eat dog world. You know, so everybody trying to come for everything. So I'm just looking forward to
it. So
you
just want to see all these receivers in this Super Bowl ball out.
We got to.
That's what you do.
You got to.
Who do you got winning this game between the Chiefs
man.
and Eagles? Because look, a lot of NFL players who are already in the NFL, some might be like, man, I don't care. Or they might have lost in the playoffs. Like, we ain't making, so I don't care.
Yeah.
But you ain't touched the field yet. So who do you got winning between the Chiefs and the Eagles?
It's an interesting situation. You know, we got Jalen Hurts' revenge tour.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
The Saquon Barkley.
It's amazing.
Yeah. But, man, you can never count out 15.
It's a problem.
Hey, you can never count out 15, bro.
Right.
So that's a hard one for me to do. So, man, I gotta go with Pat.
Gotta go
with Pat.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
It is hard to pick against Mahomes.
Hard
at
to
this
do,
point.
bro. And this gonna be if he was a win, it's gonna be what 4 and 6 years.
Yeah, 3 in a row.
Like, come
three
on,
in a row
territory. Like come on.
Yeah,
before the age of 30. All that
stuff.
Come on,
we witnessing generational talent right in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, you got to be grateful for that.
Right. T-Mac, Tet McMillan, man, we're excited to watch you just at the combine, get drafted, go through this process, catch a lot of touchdowns at the NFL level. We're going to be talking about you on this show a lot, man. Hopefully we get to talk to you after your rookie season as well. We can't wait, so thank you.
Looking forward to it, man. I appreciate all the love and support that y'all giving me, and I appreciate y'all for having me.
No doubt.
DraftKings Sportsbook is the #1 place to bet touchdowns, and all customers can get their Super Bowl 59 touchdown bet matched as a bonus bet. Download the app and use promo code Berry when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
The crown is yours.
The crown is yours. It's time for last call. Let's take a look at the notable receiving props for Super Bowl 59. Jay, what do you got?
Taking DeAndre Hopkins over 11.5 receiving yards. I think his contested catchability will be prized against these Eagles corners.
I'll go Hollywood Brown over 3.5 receptions. I think he gets a lot of designed touches in this game. Matthew closes
I like
out.
Dallas Goedert over 52.5 over the regular season. No team gave up more receiving yards to tight ends than the Philadelphia Eagles. Dalton Schultz got 64 against them. And by the way, Goddard's hit this number in each of the last 2 Eagles playoff games. That music means you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. We're back tomorrow with more great interviews from Radio Row. But for Jay Croucher, Connor Rogers, and all the fantasy superstars, I'm Matthew Berry. Peace out. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.